man! This is so annoying! Boom!
Bang!
Ah, much better.
Bang, bang, bang! If you value your life, never go drinking with Sue.
Alright. Everything should be ready for tomorrow now.
Miss Assistant, there you are! Don't tell me Sue's making you work overtime again.
Unfortunately, she needs me to get everything ready for our interview with Mr. Chambers tomorrow. Why? What's up?
Saw us around the station. We're about to go for drinks together. The new patrol officers think if they show off their badge, they're sure to get a date. Something about how ladies can't resist a man in uniform. I'm sure you could sneak away to come join us.
I'm sorry, Detective, but I might have misheard you. You didn't just ask my clerk to skip work, did you? Especially when she's busy getting everything ready for your interrogation tomorrow. Because I'm sure you got some reports around here you never finished filing out.
Well, you see, I just meant that she's welcome to come join us after she gets off.
Tempting, but I have other plans tonight. Besides, I don't want to be the only girl there.
Don't we have a drinking competition to settle, Ernest? I'd love to join.
Oh no.
Oh, would you look at the time? Gotta run.
2 days later. Sophie, good morning.
Morning, Justy. I got some good news. I checked the logs for the parking garage at the Eubank Investments. Anton Chambers entered around 7:30 p.m. on the 30th. And doesn't look like he left afterwards. So his car is sure to be still there. That means Eubank Investments is our possible crime scene. And we just secured our warrant.
Then I guess we'd better get to investigating. Looks like today will be another long day.
Are there ever short days around here?
Not recently.
Better hurry to Eubank Investments. We can be there in 5 minutes on Sapphire.
Not again.
Hold on a moment before you two leave. I want to ask, have you two noticed Ernest acting differently recently?
Well, he was chasing birds yesterday. But other than that, no.
Do you remember the other day when Ernest went out drinking?
Yeah, he left around 5 that night. What about it?
According to Officer Johnny, he said Ernest disappeared sometime around 7, which was earlier than normal.
No, he can't be the killer. No!
Yeah, but we all know he doesn't actually drink. He just goes to hang out with everyone. The thing is, Johnny said he got a phone call an hour before he left. And he started acting a lot more distant afterwards. Before he left without much of a word. That's worrying.
I didn't expect to have a welcoming party. Christina being here early, are her cows flying?
Hey now! I show up on time. What good is being early if I don't get paid for it?
For the joy of the job, of course. Find something you love and you will never work a day in your life.
You know, Detective, I was joining you for a drink on Sunday. How did it go?
Yeah, in fact, an invite, Red. I only just learned of it.
You don't work Sundays, and it felt like a people in the office type of invite. But sure, I'll tell you how it went. We left the station shortly after leaving you and Sue. We headed to the local bar, and I decided to grab a bubbly water. The patrol officers kept trying with the ladies, but kept getting shut down. Around 7 p.m., I had my fun, watched them, and left the bar. I went home afterwards. I needed some rest to prepare for Anthony's arrival.
You know, I like how you gave us all cute nicknames, Sophie.
Hey, finally someone appreciates my craft. Justy's very fitting for you.
But I'm curious, how come Sue doesn't have one?
Well, I just didn't see the point. I mean, Sue is so short and all.
Sure, you tried it. She started calling her Susie, and then she started getting loads of paperwork on her desk.
It was a perfect nickname.
I'll do my best now to get on Sue's bad side. Speaking of Sunday night, Sue said something about a drinking contest? What was that about?
Oh, it's nothing.
Those two had a contest a couple of years ago. Red has sworn off drinking ever since.
Oh, was it that
How
bad?
badly did you lose?
Listen, the less you know, the better. If you value your life, never go drinking with Sue.
I'm Detective Sophie Swift with the Azure City Police. We're here to investigate the death of Mr. Anton Chambers. A pleasure to meet you, Detective. I am Joy Collins, and I'll be happy to assist you today.
Stop being happy.
What an honor it is to have two officers of our fine police force today. Eubank Investments welcomes you both.
You're too happy.
In fact, I have it here that our president has been expecting you.
Ah, there you are, Detective.
Oh, you're the assistant from the other day. Let's see, Lowell Ledger, administrative assistant at Eubank Investments.
It seems your information is outdated. As of today, I have been promoted to the president.
I'm telling you, he's the killer.
Very
I'm
likely.
predicting it now.
Very lucky at this
Or
point.
he's in on it just to get his promotion. You became president? How did that come about exactly?
With the tragic passing of our former president, Mr. Eubank has been in a state of shock. We didn't know that when Anton was last here, it would be the last time we saw him. So until matters are resolved, I have been promoted to president of the company, and I'll tell our CEO in these troubling times.
If I may ask, what time did you see Anton leave here?
I left here at 6:20 p.m. on the dot. Since we're here, do you mind telling us more about where you were that day? Sorry, but I'm really busy right now. I really must be going now. Being president of Eubank Investment has left me very busy. But Mrs. Collins is more than happy to book an appointment next if you'd like. So if you excuse me, I have a meeting with Mr. Eubank to attend to. Miss Collins, were you here the night at Anton's death? Absolutely! I work here Sunday through Thursday for 10 hours a day. Damn!
She works 50-hour weeks?
Damn!
10 hours? How can you possibly handle that?
Here at Eubank Investments, days just fly by with how much fun it is.
Stop being so cheerful. It's fake.
And the overtime pay certainly helps. Can you tell us what you saw that day? Absolutely. Anything for the wonderful cops who protect our city. Let me pull my recordings out. I can use my phone to record things I want to remember. April 30th, 6:23 p.m., Eubank Investments reception desk. I was informed that Mr. Chambers left just a little bit ago. The night should be quiet until the shift ends at 8 p.m. Beep. I stayed on the first floor for the whole night. As far as I know, he didn't return. So how else can I assist you two today? We'd like to have a chat with Mr. Eubank. Mr. Eubank is currently in the president's office. He has a meeting with our beloved president, so feel free to wait here until he's done.
Alright, Miss Cheery. She's 22. I don't know how you do it. I did customer service once and I absolutely hated it. Justina, you're an introvert. If you want my advice, look for something better before the creeps come by.
The wonderful people working here are never like that. Besides, it's a great way of networking with the higher-ups.
So why do you record voice memos like that?
I find it to be like keeping a journal, just with your own voice. It's also something reassuring about listening to yourself.
No way! I hate hearing my own voice. I can't stand it. Wow, Justina, please don't talk about me like that. I don't know how you do it.
Once you listen to it a few times, you get used to it. Plus, I think you have a very lovely voice.
Really?
Yeah, you do. It's so passionate and energetic. It fits you so well. It's like a door to your soul.
Huh? Where did this? I mean, thank you, I guess.
Just kiss already!
Why am I blushing this hard? Car wash. Neat. Huh, well, this is certainly a parking garage. About as plain as you can get.
What are you two doing here? Oh, it's her?
Meg!
It's Meg? Okay.
Meg! Forget about us! What are you doing here?
I'm working. There's a car that got left here and I was sent to pick it up. Something about the owner dying. In those cases, my company gets hired to tow off and fix up the car. How did your company get involved in this? Our company got contracted yesterday morning. They told us that they wanted to repair the car of the family of someone that passed away.
What time in the morning?
That's a very good question. You and I was most familiar with Eubank Investments. They wanted me to take the job. I've been working in this car since yesterday. Now look at her. She's a thing of beauty. Otherwise, the only unusual thing I found was some clumps of wool in the car trunk.
Wool?
Wool. Do you remember who contacted your company? Right now, I just took the job. I only got the call around 9. If Meg started working this yesterday, then whoever contacted them knew Anton's car was here. Yet no one contacted the police.
But what about the wool? Why is it unusual?
Because nothing in the car is made of wool. All the seats are made of leather. I still have some wool if you want it.
Might as well take some. Another mystery to add to the pile. Let's look at this poster of a car wash. It's a poster for a car wash.
It looks like a good deal. I should take my car there. No more buses for me. I'm finally free.
Hey now! What's wrong with buses?
I just prefer controlling my own travel time.
Yeah, but there's less stress when you take a bus. They deserve more respect.
Since we have a champion of buses here.
I used them all the time before I started driving, and they were great. And when I didn't have money, I could sneak into the back when the driver wasn't looking.
Justy, how often did you break the law?
That car wash is looking real good. Don't worry about it, Sophie. I never broke the law.
This one is a beauty. I was called to repair.
What kind of work did it need?
When his car was found, there were dents and scratches all around.
Ugh.
I checked the area. It seems like the others within the garage had scratches from his car. The taillights were broken and some of the bits were on the floor. Seems he backed it up into the wall harder than normal and damaged it. Something must have happened here on the day he died. It's a custom-built stick shift car, so it's pretty hard to drive if you're not familiar with the car. Anton drove stick? Color me impressed.
Why? It's just a car.
Justy. My lovable, naive Justy. One doesn't simply drive a stick shift. It's so cool that Owen drives an electric car. This car has all the new features. It has the cruise control to help maintain a safe driving distance.
I love that feature on my car.
A light up trunk release to open the trunk from the inside. Voice command features to adjust settings so the driver can keep their eyes on the road. This red one is Lowell's car.
His car looks pretty plain by comparison.
I doubt he made much made as much money as the two heads of the company. Just as your standard automatic with nothing too special. It has hand crank windows. Damn.
My parents' first car had hand crank windows. I used to play with them a lot as a kid. Can we check out the inside?
It's locked, so no can do.
Can we break the window and unlock it from the inside? Justy.
You can't be serious. You can't damage a classic? I have a mind to arrest you just for suggesting that.
Miss Collins, we are finished with our meeting. Send our guest to the president's office.
Right away, sir. Good news, everyone. Mr. Eubank is ready to meet you two. Oh, I wish our police station could connect that easily. At Eubank Investments, we pride ourselves on our fast-paced communication. When the CEO calls, I'm here to answer. You just heard Mr. Eubank's voice over the speaker.
I guess we know there's a speaker now. The receptionist desk. I guess we finally got to meet its owner. I kind of want to poke around, but isn't that a bit rude with her standing right there? But wait, why is Sophie already going through it?
Look at what I found.
Is that a toy mouse? Is this a cat toy?
Oh, that thing. I have no idea where it came from. I found it by my chair Sunday night. We don't have any cats in the building, so I have no idea how it got there. It just showed up. Yeah, quite the mystery, really. Plus, when I found it, it was really gross and wet. It must have been in some animal's mouth.
Any idea what type of cat?
There was some orange and white fur nearby, but that's about it. So anyway, a cat could have been in here. Yeah, the daughter could have been here with it. Eubank Investment has a strict no animal policy.
But why would she be here? She's 10. Such windy weather on such a woeful Wednesday.
But isn't today a Tuesday?
I know, but it's the only day that starts with W. You can't keep the alliteration going without it.
What are you, some kind of poet?
It's nothing, really. I just like wordplay, I guess.
I think you have a really nice way with words, Justy. Have you ever thought of writing poetry?
Not really. I'm not sure I'd be any good at it.
It doesn't matter if you're good at it or not. I just think you have a really beautiful way of expressing yourself. I just want to see more of that.
Why do my cheeks only hurt? This is so embarrassing.
It doesn't look like anyone's cleaned here in a while. We humbly apologize for the state of affairs office is currently in. At the moment, this office has been reduced to essential staff only. Most of the office is working from home. Mr. Eubank has been put cleaning crew on paid vacation after Anton Chambers until further notice.
Wait, what? Until the clean crew is on paid vacation after Anton Chambers until further notice. Okay, there is just all sort of brokenness here.
Most of the office is working from home, and Mr. Eubank has put the cleaning crew on paid vacation after Anton Chambers' death, until further notice.
Sure. A bit buggy, but whatever.
Normally, the crews would clean in here from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day.
I'm glad you see it my way. It seems we have guests.
Hello again. Welcome to my new office. Mr. Eubank, we have some questions we would like to ask you.
I'm sorry, but I can't answer them here. I hear my daughter wants to play hide and seek. I have to head home now. Something urgent has come up. If you must ask, come visit me there.
Owen, I suggest we don't talk with the police. You had best not get involved with the investigation.
Now, my boy. As our new president of Eubank Investments, you represent the company. The sooner we answer the questions, the sooner they can be on their way. Take it from me, they won't take no for an answer.
You're right. As president, I should have leave them with good impression.
Good day, detectives.
Now, if you don't mind, can you tell us where you were the night of Mr. Chambers' death? I was at Eubank Investments the night of Anton's death, but I never saw him. I never went anywhere near Anton's office. I left this building around 10 p.m. and went straight home. I didn't see anyone, including Anton. I wasn't aware he died until I arrived at the office yesterday. Was anyone else at the office that night? As an executive assistant, I was too busy to notice anyone.
And what were you doing there on a Sunday night?
That information is strictly for company executives only.
Yeah, he's hiding something.
Thanks for your cooperation. We have some follow-up questions. Very well, but as a new president, I have a very busy schedule. Time is money, and my time is very valuable.
New mission? Waste the self-jerk's time. So, how does it feel to be president?
I admit, if you told me 10 years ago I would take the role of president of this very company, I wouldn't have believed you. 10 years ago, that's when they started work in the Sunrise District. That's right, that's where I lived for most of my life. I was in high school at the time, and within a year from when they started, we were forced to move out. Forced out? Our apartment landlord kept trying to raise the rent, trying to get higher paying tenants. Rent control stopped them from outright kicking us out.
What happened?
The lowest renters were offered buyouts, and when some said no, the landlord pulled underhanded tricks to make them leave. They came to us, we took the money and left.
We were going to fight a losing battle.
It must have been awful to leave. You grew up there.
Sure, but it taught me a lesson that day. Blue-collar workers like my parents never get paid enough. I took the business management classes into college and started working my way up the food chain. I saw an opening here a few years ago. I jumped on it and got the job as an administrative assistant.
I'm surprised you took the role. It's Eubank Investments that led to you leaving.
It's small minds to blame the company. The city paid them. Now the city has a thriving shopping district. Even if the law forced the landlord to just stay, my family could never afford it. He did us a favor and made us leave. And way I respect him. He only did what he had to. It wasn't personal, just business.
Detective, we should test this room for blood.
Forensics plans to look over the whole building later. I got the means to check out one room. You mind if we test the room now, Mr. Ledger?
By all means, we have nothing to hide.
No blood, but there's something else. A pal in forensics let me borrow this nifty device that can be used to detect the materials of gunpowder. I found some, but it's in a strange shape.
Strange how?
It's spread across the whole floor. It's set in this rectangular area. If I recall, there was a rock here.
So someone fired a gun and the rug was removed afterwards? Then that's proof. He was shot here.
Don't be so quick to judge. The detective just said there was no blood. If he had been shot here, he would have been bleeding as well.
He's right, the device isn't enough to conclude he was shot here. Mr. Ledger, would we be able to check Anton's office phone?
Why would you want to do that?
This type of phone logs the last couple of calls. We might get a clue about when these phones were last used.
Of course, just make it quick. We wouldn't want to waste time.
Definitely want to waste time.
This phone was used on Sunday night around 7 p.m. and 8 p.m.
That means he did come back to make a phone call.
How do you know it was him?
Someone could have come in here and used it instead of him.
And the phone has a built-in speaker.
Yeah.
So you can easily communicate that way. But you can also listen in on something going on. So many numbers on this board.
Get your eyes off the chalkboard. This information is strictly for company executives.
Oh, come on! It's just a bunch of numbers and letters that I have no understanding of.
Those numbers and letters are the very heart of this company, but that someone like you would understand. We are planning a bright future for Eubank Investments. One that doesn't depend on the past. Our former president was a great man, but he thought the sure city was the center of the world. Such a powerful man with such a small view only limited the growth of this company. But now that he's gone, I'm going to clean up his mess.
I'm telling you, this dude's on it.
We're going to throw out his old ways and go into new territory.
What do you mean by new territory?
One day you will find out. Let's just say that Mr. Eubank and I are on the same page. Once I became president, he gave me the necessary tools to help him out. By the time I left my new office, I knew my duties as president of Eubank Investments. Now someday, this will be the Eubank Ledger Investments.
Hello? Anyone here?
Hey, it's the detective ladies!
Kitty! I didn't expect you two to be here. We came to visit your husband. He couldn't stay in the office. We couldn't get a babysitter for fee, and I have to head to the station to finish some business.
It's a holiday, so not school!
Yay! Crap! Was it a famous person's birthday? I can't remember. Fee, dear, your father is busy with work, so be a good girl until I get back.
Yes, Mom.
We are on a super important case. You think you can help us out?
Sure, for some cash.
Aren't you rich? You want money again?
Without Chandra, I have to clean my own room.
Oh no, the whore.
So I'm going to save up enough to get my own Chandra.
Credit where it's due. At least she has goals.
This case involves your mom and dad. Want to help them, isn't that enough?
No. Oh, I guess it is.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you tell us where your parents were 2 nights ago?
I was playing with Toasty when I saw my dad leave at 7 p.m. Toast and I stayed home with my mom until he got back. He got home around 9 p.m. but barely spoke to us. They might have had what my teachers called a fight.
Do you know what they were fighting about?
I was scared, so I hid when they started yelling.
Aww. I'm sure she just needed some alone time. Fight, huh? It's been serious if both sides kept it hidden.
We can stay and talk, but we don't want Mr. Eubank to wait too long.
Yes, but we will make him wait longer for some new cat-tastic jokes because Toasty was involved. I haven't heard meow yet. So, Mthis, before going after a mouse, what did the cat dad say to his family?
Oh, what did he say? I have no idea what he would say.
Let us pray. But it's P-R-E-Y. Told you, all these are terrible, I love it.
Let us pray. Oh god, that is horrible.
So, what's new, Toasty? Ah, yes. I'm so glad you know that.
Toasty says that he's been busy balancing playtime with nap time. Not enough hours in the day.
How much nap time do you need? Is 24 hours not enough?
It is a cat.
Must be a busy cat. I shouldn't tell them I'm more of a dog girl myself. Well, you're taking over Justina. At least dogs do things. Here is my cat. Jewel. Yeah, I have no idea where she hid.
And Mr. Eubank, we arrived, just like you asked.
Mr. Eubank? Oh, it's you two. Sorry, I was just thinking to myself. Is everything alright? You seem different. Of course not. Anton was my friend. He just passed away, and I'm expected to be alright. I'm sorry. My apologies. That was rude of me. Everything is just happening so fast. I don't know what came over me. I forgive you. I was being insensitive. I'm sure his soul is resting and he will be reborn soon. Anton didn't know the meaning of rest. I bet his soul is kicking up a storm from resting too much.
I understand this is a tough time for you, but we would like to ask you some questions.
I would prefer not to. When I last spoke with Anton, I didn't know it would be the last. The wound is still too fresh.
I know it's hard, but the two of us just want to find out what happened. If it helps, you can keep it simple.
Around 7 p.m. on the night of Anton's death, I drove to the office to get some work done. I parked the car in the garage and went into Anton's office. Anton and I spoke, but we got into an argument over where to take the company. I left shortly afterwards. Before you ask, I don't have an alibi for being at the office. I didn't see anyone else.
Not having an alibi doesn't do you any favors. Was there no one else inside the building at the time?
It was a Sunday night. We don't have anyone working weekend shifts.
Yes, you do.
What about Joy and Lowell? They were all inside. We like having one receptionist on standby in case something happens. Joy enthusiastically volunteers for those shifts. As for Lowell, that I wouldn't know. You would have to ask him. Oh yes, can't wait for him to tell us that information is strictly for company executives or some other crap.
Thank you for letting us know. I have a few follow-up questions if Mr. Eubank doesn't mind.
As long as they are reasonable, I have nothing to hide.
My condolences. I didn't know the last time you saw Mr. Chambers was unpleasant.
Thank you, Detective. It's not the first time the two of us fought. It's just so happened to be the last. If I can offer some advice, always tell your friends and family how much they mean to you. Tomorrow isn't promised. Once they are gone, they are never coming back. I should call my parents and Jean after work. Can't believe I'm gonna call Jean.
You and Anton must have been close.
Back when we started this company, we both knew the Sunrise District was a disappointing part of the city. We turned the stain of Azure City into a flourishing flower to truly live up to the Sunrise name. But what about his friends? Doing things that don't involve Eubank investments? Our friendship and our business work go hand in hand. You can't talk about one without the other. Wow, that is a very sad friendship.
Yeah, that it really is.
If we saw each other more, we might get sick of each other.
Jess and I hang out outside of work. We haven't gotten sick of each other yet.
The only time we get sick around Sophie is when she's driving her motorcycle. Don't you think Stain of Azure City is rather harsh? What about the people who lived there before? The poverty rate of the Sunrise District was around 20% before we started. Now the poverty rate is around 7%. We raised 13% of the population out of poverty. Or you kicked them out.
Yeah, I think it's more that they got kicked out. You know, Lowell was from that area. His family was forced to leave because his landlord raised the rent. Perhaps that 13% was simply forced to move, lowering the poverty rate by removing all the people in the poverty.
I was aware of Lowell's story, but look at him now. That move only made him stronger.
I'm surprised Lowell was promoted to president.
Anton's death was hard on all of us. Lowell was willing to step up to fill the role, so I let him take it.
That's still a big promotion. Wouldn't someone better qualified be better to take it?
It's only temporary, just until I resolve some personal matters. Personal matters? None of which I want to talk about. How's Ferris doing? The last couple of days have been so busy, we hardly had time to speak. She's trying her best to hold it together. You should talk to her. She must be so worried about you. I can't right now. There's an important matter I have to deal with first.
Oh.
More important than your wife? Nothing is more important than my family, which is why I must take care of this matter first.
Yeah, I think that's the issue.
The mouse here?
I suspect so, yeah.
So I just used the mouse in the wrong paw.
Yes.
Fee, do you recognize this toy?
That's Toasty's. It looks like Toasty's toy. It was found on the night you said you were at home. My theory is Toasty was there that night. And if Toasty was there, you were there. It's, the burden of proof falls on the accuser.
Where did you learn that?
Mom taught me. Of course she did.
Of course the lawyer mother would teach her.
She's right, we have to prove it.
I suppose we just need to ask Ferris. She would know.
You can't. Mom was in her room the whole night. She didn't see me. When she's sad, she hides away. Damn. Didn't see me until this morning. Besides, I can't even leave my house. I had no way of getting there from here. I have a perfect alibi.
So,
Really, we have to keep doing something here with her.
she didn't leave the house.
You can show that
Do we have anything to prove against that?
You can use the trunk to open from within.
Oh, Owen's car?
Yeah,
The trunk release?
yeah.
Well, obviously she's not able to drive herself, game. What is wrong with you? Wait,
Right.
prove who drove it?
Ah! Owen.
So his statement? What? Whatever. I forgot why I hate these games sometimes. You have to go in the certain order.
Yep.
There was a direct line between your home and the office. Your dad drove directly to the office. You could have caught a ride there.
No, I didn't. Toasty can back me up.
Case closed.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Exactly, you tell them, Toasty.
Can you or Toasty clarify what you mean?
Dad would never let me ride with him to the office. If he saw me, he would have brought me back home. There's nowhere to hide in his car. His office is boring anyway. I wouldn't want to go there.
Mr. Eubank never did talk about Fee. Was he hiding Fee from us, or did Fee get there on her own? We already figured this out.
Yeah, we already figured this out. Yeah, you can hide in the back.
I know where it is. There is a way you could have gone to the office in his car. You must have hidden in the trunk of the car. If you were hiding there, you could have gone there without him noticing.
But how could I get out? I would be locked inside.
There's a safety lock inside the trunk designed to allow anyone to escape. You could exit the car at the garage and leave the trunk open. That way you could get back inside the trunk when your dad was leaving the office.
I honestly, on a side note, that's actually really smart design that governments do that nowadays, that they force cars to have that feature. Alright, you got me. I was hiding in the trunk.
This kid is way too good at hiding.
Why were you in the trunk? I went into the garage behind the house to hide. We were playing when I heard my dad coming. So I jumped into the trunk, hoping he wouldn't spot me.
Why did you hide?
He doesn't like it when I'm in the garage because he says it's too dangerous. It was the only place I could get away from the yelling. Aww. I heard him walking. I hid inside the trunk thinking he would go away. And I heard the car turn on. So I ended up there. Guess that's what happened while you were there. Promise not to tell my parents?
Really, Jewel? Of all the spots to try and lie, it's literally where the mouse is.
I pinky promise. When the car parked, I waited until my dad left. When the coast was clear, I got out. So what did you do once he left? I just got out and played with Toasty. The garage was boring, so I went to the second floor. One day I heard people talking downstairs, but I ignored it. Then there was a loud sound, and Toasty got scared and ran off. Ran all the way to the lobby, and I had to go get him. It tells what the sound was like. Like those cop shows where the police start shooting the bad guys.
Oh no.
That sound must have been a gunshot.
Fee, do you remember what time it happened?
I'm sorry, I was too busy getting Toasty, I didn't check. It's alright. Did you happen to see anyone there? Toasty and I didn't see anyone.
So Joy wasn't there when you showed up? That timing is uncanny.
That's too much speculation for my liking, but it's a lead. One last question. Did you hear only one shot? Yeah, if there was another, Toasty would have run off again.
Strange. Why did she only hear one shot when there were clearly two?
You know how you got to the building, but how did you get back home? I saw my dad heading back to the garage, so I ran back to the car before him. Hopped into the trunk and he drove back. Was there anything unusual before your dad drove back? I heard my dad talking to someone.
Did you see who it was?
First rule of hide and seek. Never risk being spotted. I kept my head down. Could you hear what they were saying? I couldn't. I only recognized my dad's voice. Thanks, Fee and Toasty. You helped us plenty.
But please stop hiding stuff from us. You're making our job harder.
I promise I'll stop. As long as you have enough money.
Kid, you're going places. So are you, Toasty.
Yep. Wait, but I have a perfect alibi. He did see someone else. The person he talked to.
So this?
No, because it doesn't mention Eubank talked with someone.
Yes, there we go. Mr. Eubank, we have a witness who stated that you were in the parking garage talking to someone. Why didn't you bring them up? Hold on. Who is this witness? I better not let him know his own daughter ratted him out. That information is highly classified police information, along with her cat. You expect me to believe that? Then tell me, who did I speak to? Who would it be?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna go with Lowell. Maybe Hana. Lowell's the only person in the building whose movements we don't know yet. He's the only option. Lowell was the person, which makes it even stranger that you or him didn't say anything. Well, it was such a minor thing, it was hardly worth bringing up.
Then what were you two talking about?
And why should I tell you about my private conversation?
You said you had nothing to hide.
If you must know, go ask him yourself. I have nothing else to say.
In that case, we will go see him. Thank you for your help.
I don't think Mr. Eubank is just giving a straight answer.
I don't think he's right. We should go ask Lowell himself.
Lowell, Mr. Eubank told us that he spoke to you inside the parking garage on Sunday. What were you two talking about?
Did he now? How would he tell you about that? We know how to make him talk.
We have tools for that.
Yes. It's simple, really. We were talking about the future of Eubank investments. But such information is strictly confidential. Yes, you answer.
Why would he talk to the assistant?
I have already wasted enough time helping you two. I must get back to work.
Sorry, Lowell, but we can't accept that. What did you really talk about?
You dare question me? I won't stand for such slander. Prove it. If you can't, then get out of my office.
Then I will!
The
Because
gunshot?
he wasn't the president?
The gunshot.
Is it the gunshot?
Wait. His confession. At the bottom. They heard a single gunshot coming from the lobby.
That could be it. So it's either Fee's confession, maybe this chalkboard? Because he started learning about the duties of being president. And he only started learning about it. He didn't know about it before.
That's true.
Mr. Eubank only started planning with you once you became president. But that was only yesterday. On Sunday night, you were just a glorified secretary.
It seems you two won't leave empty-handed. You really want to know what we talked about?
I have a bad feeling about this.
I was speaking to him about Detective Han's visit.
Visit? What are you talking about?
Oh dear, did he not tell you? He was here Sunday night to see Anton himself.
What?
Oh no.
Why?
He was here?
Apparently. He didn't tell us.
Oh yes, I called Detective Han myself. It seems our late president wanted to talk with him before meeting him the next day. In fact, I'm pretty sure Detective Han was the last person to see him. And where's your proof? He would have told us if he had been here. Here's my phone. It shows I called him that night. It's Red's phone number.
It also shows that he called Anton a little after 7 p.m., which would be after his talk with Mr. Nuba. Wait a moment. That means you knew Anton was here. You lied before.
I said I never saw him, which is true. But why were you two in the garage? I was just grabbing something from my car when I ran into him. I think we have enough to work with. Thank you, Lowell. We'll update your statement.
Grabbing something from the car is just an excuse. Those two are hiding something.
I agree, but if Lowell is honest about Red, that means he was the last person to see Anton before he died. Which means Red is our prime suspect.
Ah, shit. But he wouldn't kill anyone. We can't suspect him.
That's why we should talk with him now. Figure out what happened.
Hello, Detective Hunt. Let's talk about Joy. I don't trust that receptionist one bit. She's way too happy. It makes me uncomfortable. She's got to be hiding something. There's no way anyone can work customer service and not be dead on the inside. I should know. I had to do it once in my life.
Just because you hate working in customer service doesn't mean she does.
Call Detective Hunt to come to Anton's office.
At 5 p.m. Damn.
Detective, what you're saying isn't true. You didn't go home. We spoke with Lowell, and he said he called you to come to Eubank Investments. And more importantly, you spoke with Anton that night.
I suppose this was always going to come up. I swear, if I thought I was tied to this case, I would have told you to.
Anders, this is serious. Right now, you are the last person to have seen Anton alive.
And the fact she didn't call him Red shows how serious this is.
Yeah. Meaning you are our prime suspect.
I expect no less from you, detective, but I'm no murderer.
Then what happened that night? Why were you even there?
While I was with the boys, I got a call from a man named Lowell Ledger. He told me that Anton Chambers wanted to speak with me.
And you agreed?
At first I wasn't going to, and then he said he wanted to confess something. After that I agreed, so I left early and spoke with him.
And what did you talk about?
I'll let you hear yourself. I got it recorded.
Recorded?
Let me play it for you too.
Oh my god! How many times is this dude coming back? Hello, detective. Forgive me for being late. I had other matters to attend to.
Let's not beat around the bush. Your assistant said you wanted to confess. If you're really so busy, this can't wait until your police interview tomorrow.
Yet, you still came.
The last time someone once confessed to me, she was attacked before she had a chance. I'm not letting that happen again. Start with it.
I'll get right to it. If I come to the station tomorrow, I'll be sure to walk out a free man. I can get a team of lawyers to drag any case through the mud until you give up. It would be a waste of time for both you and me.
So you want to confess now and save me some time?
You don't really want me. You want the head honcho, Owen Eubank. I can provide all the evidence you need to get Owen locked up for good.
And let me guess, I can get all that in exchange for dropping this case.
Those are your words, not mine. But whatever happens next is your choice.
I see how it is. You're scared. Scared we'll find something on you. People like you are excited to decide they think they can bribe their way out of justice. If the Eubanks really are guilty of something, we will find it, with or without your evidence.
I see. Perhaps you need some time to think about it. You have until tomorrow. I hope you can change your mind by then.
Yeah, we have nothing else to talk about. By the way, if you got something to say, better to have you call me yourself. Once you're behind bars, you won't have anyone to do your dirty work.
That's a lot to process.
Red, you shouldn't have recorded that.
Huh? Why not? Anton was clearly trying to bribe the detective.
Justina, do you know what two-party consent is?
Oh, it's one of those places.
Yep.
The law requires two-party consent before anyone makes an electronic recording of a private conversation. Without Anton's approval, what Red did was illegal.
But he was only trying to solve this case. There are no bad intentions here.
Good or bad, it's still illegal for good reason. Without it, the police officers could trick suspects into saying something out of context.
That happened?
It was part of our court case over 15 years ago, but yes.
I wasn't intending to use this as evidence, but I needed something as proof of myself. Something that could help me get legal evidence. That's why I kept it hidden.
I'm sorry, Red, but I have to report this to the chief.
Sophie, I don't regret what I did. People like him, they only follow the rules that suit them. At least I'm doing it for the right reasons.
As police officers, we have to hold ourselves to the highest standards. If we don't hold ourselves accountable, then we don't deserve our badges.
If you will allow it, please wait until you solve this case. I will gladly tell the chief myself afterwards.
All right.
So now what? We can't use the recording.
True, but Red was still there. As long as we keep out what they talked about, it should be acceptable evidence.
This evidence may not be legal, but forget the law. What matters is that now you know I didn't do it.
Can you tell us anything about what happened when you got there?
When I arrived, I met with the receptionist, and she brought me up to Anton's office. She said Mr. Chambers called me earlier, and he was on his way.
So then, Joy must have known he was returning. Hello, Joy!
Hi, Joy. That's wrong, though.
Miss Collins, we spoke to Detective Hunt. He told us you escorted him to the presence office the night of his death. That must mean you knew Mr. Chambers was coming back.
I misspoke. I must have had the wrong date.
But your recording said the date and time.
Why did you leave out such an important piece of information? Eubank investment policy states that I can answer such questions without legal representation. You are within your rights to have one. However, we will take you to the station. There we can continue this conversation. You all right, Justy? You seem to have your head in the clouds.
When this is over, will Detective Hunt be okay? If he tells the chief he broke the law, what will happen?
I'm not so sure. Although he might have to take the highest punishment on the force.
Highest punishment? Poor Hunt.
I don't like it either, but his actions can't be ignored. We can worry about him later. Now he got us a lead. Whatever Miss Collins knows, we have to find out.
I'm not letting you talk to her without me there. Until proven otherwise, she's innocent in my book. Do you honestly believe she isn't involved in this? I know she's hiding something. You two don't just bring people in for lying about their age. Well, Justina has the magical ability to know someone's age just by meeting them.
Yeah.
Like, how do we know Toasty's age?
Yeah, that's a very good
He
question.
was a stray. How do we know his birthday?
Yeah.
How magical is Justina?
Well, it's just her power. You know, it's the gods.
So you just decided to make our job harder? I'm here to make sure you do your job right. She is still an employee of my company. Even if she went all the way and killed Anton, I'm going to make you prove it without room for doubt. And if you get something wrong, I'm going to push back as hard as I can.
Sounds like this is going to be a fun time. When we solve this case, we can all get drinks together.
You're way too optimistic. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Miss Collins, now that you have an attorney, let's get started. You claimed you were unaware that Anton Chambers returned to his office on the night of his death. However, Detective Ernest Hunt claims you escorted him to Mr. Chambers' office that night.
My client acknowledges that she escorted the detective to see Mr. Chambers that night. However, visiting Mr. Chambers the night before he was scheduled for a police interview is highly unethical. Detective Hunt should have disclosed his visit yesterday when Mr. Chambers' body was found. He thought it was unrelated to this case until you proved Mr. Chambers didn't die in the alleyway.
We can dispute Detective Hunt's actions another time. We're here for Miss Collins' actions. Why didn't you tell us that Anthony Chambers returned to his office? I was unaware it was important. I depend on my recording so much I misspoke.
Oh, please, spare me the weaponized incompetence. Can you tell us more about when you escorted Detective Hunt?
Yes, of course. Okay.
Press 1 for
Oh my
escorting the
God.
detective.
It's like a phone.
Yeah.
Lowell had told me a detective was coming, and I was to bring him to the president's office. So when he arrived a little before 7 p.m., I escorted him to the office. Escorting the detective was the only time I had left my desk or had been in the president's office. No. Why at my desk? I didn't see or know of Mr. Chambers' return. When I heard what happened, I thought he died before returning. That cannot be
Would
possible.
this relate to the kitty?
I think so.
Maybe, maybe not. Joy, when did you find the mouse?
I don't remember. I think it was pretty late that night, but I don't see why it matters.
What mouse? Oh, nothing. Just like she said, it doesn't matter. Better keep Fee out of this while I can. She's right. The mouse alone doesn't matter if we know when Fee and Toasty got there. You never left at all? Not even for a bathroom break?
Nope. Professionals are always prepared.
I'm kind of scared of that.
Yeah. I train my body to make sure I only use the bathroom when I'm off the clock.
How do you train your body to do that?
With a lot of practice. But I can't tell you how. It's a secret.
That's all right. I don't need the details.
There's a skip button, you know.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Did so well. Did you ever ask why a detective would be arriving so late? My client had no reason to question it, only to do as requested. We get all kinds of folks at Eubank Investments. Nothing phases her anymore. What kind of folks do you get?
Next week, a famous painter is supposed to come and paint a mural on the side of the building. I think his name is Doe something.
No. Doughboy! How the heck did that menace to society get invited?
Wait.
Oh, they didn't see her at the receptionist?
Yeah.
Miss Collins, we have an eyewitness who didn't see you at the reception desk. I don't see the problem. They could have shown up when she was escorting the detective. The problem is, that doesn't line up with our witness. Detective Hunt got there right before 7 p.m., but our witness wasn't in the building yet. Then go ahead, show us how you know this. Then I will!
The mouse. Oh.
That's not it.
Okay, really? Is it Fee's statement? Okay.
Guess? I thought we weren't bringing Fee into this. Our witness saw Mr. Eubank leave his home at the same time that Detective Hunt arrived. Since they were in the car at the time, they couldn't have gotten in there before Joy escorted the detective. Or I guess I should say, she was in the car. Excuse me?
Oh my god.
What was she doing in the building at that time?
We can't disclose any details. We pinky promised the witness.
Well, so we didn't break the pinky promise if I'm the one who told her. And how do we know they were there? Do you only have their word?
Your client found this cat toy earlier. Do you recognize it?
Unfortunately, yes. It seems that the witness has a lot of explaining to do later. Back to the main point. Our witnesses were only in the lobby because they heard a loud sound.
The exact words were, like those cop shows when the police start shooting the bad guys.
When this is over, those two are grounded for life.
I do believe your witness was mistaken. I heard a sound, but it wasn't a gunshot. It was a loud noise from outside. I simply left my desk to check what it was. So your witness must have been simply been wrong.
As the front desk receptionist, it's her responsibility to check if anything is out of place.
Did you find out what it was? Sorry, but I couldn't find it. I still don't know what it was. And tell us more about this loud noise.
Press 2 for a loud sound.
I was at the reception desk when I heard a loud noise. I went around the lobby to find out where it came from. The only conclusion I could find was it came from outside. The inside was perfectly normal. I checked the whole area. There was no way in the building a gun could be fired. No.
Just to guess. There was only one area during our whole investigation we were able to prove a gun was fired. The president's office. I'm sorry. I must have misheard you. Are you saying the gunshot was from the 6th floor? Exactly! And where were your witnesses when she heard that sound? The 2nd floor? And she said it came from the lobby below them? Yes? Do you have any idea how ridiculous that sounds? It makes no sense. You wanted a source of the gunshot, I gave you one!
I documented our witness's response. Take a look.
Putting aside what your witness said, there's a flaw with this theory of yours.
Is there?
Press 3 for gunpowder in the room. Well, it does say that gunpowder from a discharged gun was found. It never says when. Anton Chambers carried his gun with him everywhere. He could have fired his gun any day before the day of his death, and gunpowder would have been picked up. Do you just allow shooting randomly?
Huh.
I know that blanks also require the same powder without wasting a bullet.
That is true.
So he's just randomly firing blanks? Out of sheer boredom? Man, this is so annoying. Boom!
Bang!
Ah, much better.
Bang, bang, bang!
You can't prove the gunpowder came from Brutus and not from a different gun. Ah, so that's what happened. She heard it from the lobby because it was connected to the president's office.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
So how do we get to that point? Wait, Fee went towards the gun!
With
The cleaning crew.
Yeah, that is certainly useful.
The gunpowder wasn't from the night before his death. The cleaning crew finished cleaning the building at 5 p.m. before Mr. Chambers returned that night. But your husband hasn't had them come back since that night. So the gunpowder could only have been there that night. Miss Collins, do you know why he hasn't gotten them back?
Perhaps he simply wanted to give his staff a much needed break.
Then it seems we have to address the real question. How could both my client and the witness hear sound from the 6th floor? And most importantly, why would they hear it from the 1st floor? I actually already know this. Shoot! I need an answer! Justina, we know this. The evidence shows a loud sound can be appear in the lobby, blah, 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 blah. And...
The office phone.
Should be. This evidence should be the answer. Ugh, did I choose the wrong thing? Nope, yep, I
Sorry,
definitely
Justin,
chose the wrong
that's not
thing.
going to work.
Shh. What? Nothing. There was nothing there. Miss Collins, there's a place for the sound to come from. The phone for the reception desk has speaker functions. If the speakers were on, it would play the gunshot from the president's office.
But that doesn't make any sense. How could the sound of a gunshot appear at the reception desk phone? The reception desk phone is not always connected to the president's office.
She's right. You need to show how that would be possible. Here's the evidence that shows how the sound was heard. This? The president's office phone could have been connected to the reception desk phone. We know he had a phone call from 7 to 8 p.m. that night. As long as that shot happened during that phone call, the speaker would play the gunshot. Then answer this. Why was it connected? Are you saying he was shot during a phone call?
Not necessarily. All that matters is that both phones were on.
Let me think. Everyone we know who was in the building. Who turned on the president's office phone? A ghost.
A ghost! I think Anton did it.
Anton Chambers is the only logical choice. It was his office.
But the phone call started at 7 p.m. and we know he was in the store until that time. Oh, you're right.
True.
There's no way he could have done it. Was it
So it had to
Ernest?
be Joy or Owen.
Could it have been Ernest? It might be one of those two.
He was escorted up to that point.
That is true.
So it has to be Joy or Owen. And just for fun. This is going to be so stupid, I know it. The music stopped and everything. Everyone, I know what happened. There's only one answer. A terrifying answer that will shake the very foundation of this case. Eubank Investments is haunted by a ghost. We must exercise the building before it does something worse. Oh my god. They knew what they were doing.
Gusty, please tell me you're joking.
Oh, yes I am. It was just some lighthearted fun. Maybe ghosts are not the answer. Joy Collins, there's no way you wouldn't notice a reception desk phone being on. So you would have wanted it to be on, which means you turned on Anton's phone to eavesdrop on the detective's conversation. Are you accusing my witness of lying to us the whole time?
I trust Justina's logic, so yes, Miss Collins is actively withholding information from us.
I think you are missing something important. Let's see you counter my next point. Please stay on the line for calling phones. My client works only at the front desk. She can manually connect the president's office phone to the reception desk, but only from the office. Yet she remained on the first floor the whole time. She has no power to do it from her desk.
But we know she was gone at some point. I think it's Fee's confession.
Well, maybe she somehow got to his phone when she was escorting Detective Hunt? There was one point when Miss Collins was in the president's office, when she escorted Detective Hunt up there.
Yes, I was being a nice host and escorted him, but I never went to the phone.
We can ask Detective Hunt if he remembers. The key word is if. It's her word against the detectives.
This whole theory is built on proof that a gunshot was played on the reception desk phone. Then why was the speaker on? If Miss Collins really did connect the president's office phone to the reception desk, she did it on purpose, meaning she would have wanted to overhear the conversation with Detective Hunt. If she could have placed it next to her ears like most people.
My, detective. It seems you are poking a hole in your own case. Have you given up already?
Quite the opposite. This is a new way to prove Justina's theory.
How am I supposed to know why the speaker was on?
Ask yourself, why did she choose to do it?
Maybe it is related to Ledger? I don't know.
Could be.
Joy records important information on her phone, perhaps?
Right. That's what she does.
Joy told us that she records events on her phone. If she wanted to record the conversation between Detective Hunt and Mr. Chambers, keeping the phone to her ear wouldn't work. She would have the sound played by a speaker, with her phone near it to get the best sound.
That's true.
That would mean Miss Collins recorded the whole murder?
Miss Collins, will you willingly give up your phone as evidence? Mrs. Eubank, you can't let them confiscate my phone!
Legally, the law allows for them to take it if they get a warrant to access any data on it. However, I would advise you to let them know willingly. What? To let them know willingly. Okay. However, I would advise you to let them know willingly.
No, I can't!
Miss Collins, I can't help you if you don't cooperate. Keeping information from law enforcement will only make things worse.
Alright, you got me. I was recording everything from the president's office. The recording ended when I heard the gunshot. Why didn't you record any more? I think the phone on the desk was hit after the gunshot, and it turned off. That's when I went upstairs. Why were you doing it in the first place? I was doing it to help Anton Chambers' ex-wife. She wanted me to get dirt on him. Oh.
That sounds exactly like her. To clarify, she's the one Anton is divorcing, right? Yes, her name is Vivacia. Vivacia?
Vivica.
Vivica?
In order to get complete custody of their son, Vivica needed to present evidence he was unfit. She told me last week that she would pay me if I could get any evidence for her. That's also why I was recording Mr. Chambers' movements that day.
I get why Vivica needed that, but why did you do it? How much money could she possibly offer?
Mrs. Eubank, do you know what the minimum wage is in Azure City?
18 alms an hour. Okay, so alms are probably the equivalent of dollars or something.
Very likely. Do you know how much I make? 20. I worked here for 2 years and barely make more than minimum wage.
Ouch.
Vivica offered me a side job that I could do while at work.
Did you send this recording to Vivica?
I did, but I still have it on my phone. Do you know who killed Anthony Chambers? No. When Anton is at his desk, I can usually hear everything. I said to record everything between Anton and the detective, but after the detective left, someone came in. They were talking in front of the door, and the phone was too low quality to pick up everything they said. Did you hear anything else before the gunshot? I heard a sound like something heavy hit a wall, followed by something like that crashed to the floor. Then the gunshot happened.
Hitting a wall and something crashing. Sounds like a struggle.
Miss Collins, do you know what two-party consent is? Yes. That's why I tried to hide the gunshot. And during such struggle, was anyone talking? No? It was just the sounds, I said. They know that we have to charge you for illegally recording 2 conversations. We also need you to confiscate those recordings from your phone. We can keep only the struggle part and dispose of the rest.
Recordings of conversations are legal, but other recorded sounds are perfectly acceptable.
We can keep the struggle and dispose of everything else from the recording. And Miss Collins, can you tell us what happened when you went upstairs? When I heard the gunshot, I thought Mr. Chambers killed someone. So I took the stairs and sneaked my way to the 6th floor.
What is with the people of this world? First Fee goes downstairs where the gunshot is, and this lady goes upstairs where a gunshot is.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why are you all going towards gunshots? That explains why a witness didn't see you in the lobby. Why did you take the stairs?
If I took the elevator, they might see me. It was easy to sneak in by the stairs, even if it took longer. When I got there, I didn't see anyone, but people weren't the only thing missing. Both the rug and clock on the wall were missing. They were there when I came up with Detective Hunt.
So, he was shot and killed on the rug and bled out on it, and the clock was knocked down and broke. Joy, do you know who removed him?
I don't know about the clock, but I do know about the rug. It was Lowell. Well, when I was looking around, I heard the elevator arrive at the floor. I ran to see what it was, and I saw Lowell carrying one end of the rug. It looked like someone was on the other side carrying the rug. The door was closed just enough that I couldn't see who. What time did this happen? 8:25 p.m. Sunday night. I wanted to be there sooner, but climbing 6 flights of stairs in the heels took the wind out of me.
Ah, you poor person.
The fact she could even do it, though. I wanted to follow Lowell, but I didn't know where in the building he went. I thought he went to the 1st floor, but I couldn't find him. He went to the garage. If Lowell took the rug after Mr. Chambers was shot, he must have wanted to dispose of it. Something we couldn't find must have been the rug.
If Anton Chambers was shot in his office, it would make sense that he would be bleeding. Yet, we couldn't find any blood in his office. What if, after getting shot, he fell on the rug?
Mrs. Eubank, do you happen to know what the rock was made of?
It's a wool rug. Why?
Oh shit. Oh shit. Wool rocks are highly absorbent. Just his theory about the rock absorbing all the blood makes sense.
But that isn't proven yet. None of you have found the rug yet, so this is just speculation.
Which is why we need to ask him ourselves. We need to bring Lowell Ledger here. Mrs. Eubank, would you be able to bring Lowell here?
Of course I can. I'll drag him in here myself if I must. But that doesn't mean I believe he's a culprit.
Let's return here once Mr. Ledger arrives.
Looks like Mrs. Eubank brought our star witness.
I didn't think he would be willing to come. You would think he would resist it with every fiber of his eggplant suit.
Eubank Investments is co-owned by both Owen and Ferris. So Ferris is technically his boss.
The fact she even let us bring him in for questioning surprises me.
After what happened with Joy, I think even she knows Lowell is involved with this murder. And solving Anton's death matters more than their upstart president. How about you? Have you made any progress on Anton's case?
It seems that Anton's bullets were being smuggled in. If I can find the bullets he was smuggling, that would really help us.
He was smuggling bullets.
Intriguing.
What kind of bullets are these?
Well, Ledger, you have been brought in to answer questions about the night of Anton Chambers' death. The gunshot was heard by a witness that night. When the witness went there, they saw you. I already told you I was in the building that night. And I will ask you a simple question. Are you involved with the death of Anton Chambers, including purposely tampering with evidence? I was not involved with the death of Anton Chambers. May I leave now?
What my client means to say is, you need something substantial to keep him here.
We already have proof that a gunshot from the president's office happened that night. Are you unaware of that?
My client has already told the police that he was on the 5th floor the whole night. There is no proof that a gunshot on the 6th floor could be heard on the 5th floor. You could hear a gunshot from a different floor, but we can't say the same from floor 5 to 6. But a witness saw him heading towards the elevator with a rug.
And what does a rock have to do with Mr. Chambers' death? He appears to believe he died on that rock. It contains evidence. Is there any proof of that?
A previous witness saw you.
Took a picture of the president's office after the murder and the rock was missing. Given that testimony, we have a reason to believe you were involved. I see. Yes, I was carrying a rock, but you're clearly missing context. Allow me to explain. I don't think he's the killer.
Because who else would it be?
It could be Eubank. Mr. Eubank asked me to help him bring the rock to his car, so I went to the president's office with him and we simply took it. After grabbing the rock, Mr. Eubank and I headed to the garage. I simply left the rock in Mr. Eubank's trunk so he could take it home. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the wrong one.
Afterwards, I have no idea what happened to the rug.
She was already in the trunk. Mr. Ledger, we have a witness testimony that Mr. Eubank didn't take it. If the rug had been placed in his car, they would have seen it. But they didn't. If Mr. Eubank didn't take it, where did it go?
And who is this witness? I demand to know.
Mr. Ledger, I can verify the witness and their location. They will be punished greatly for being on Eubank Investments property without permission. I will separate them from their cat for 1 day. That'll be torture for that kid.
Yeah.
Poor Fee. With that answered, what happened to the rug?
If your witness said I'm lying, you tell me.
Due to the witness's particular location, they weren't able to see anything. I can only say that if you had put the rug in the car, they would have known.
It's getting really annoying to see you beat around the bush.
Wow, what an animation.
Yeah?
Keeping this witness's identity hidden is necessary for the future of Eubank Investments. That's a whole lot of words to tell him to shut up!
Then perhaps I'm misremembering all this. We could have just left it by the car instead. Then someone could have come by and taken it. Nothing I could do about it. That is all. The president of Eubank Investments is a busy man. We're not leaving yet. Aside from an unnamed witness, there were 4 people there that night. Since one of them is our victim, the possibility of an unknown party is unlikely.
Then where would the rug go? It can't disappear into thin air. Here's the one place we could have put the rug. It's a
Oh.
dispute. There were only 3 cars in the garage that night, including his. So he must have placed it in his car. But why lie about which car was used?
Because if you put it in his car, that means he drove it somewhere. And we might find evidence inside. Again, nothing but speculation. I'm sure you won't mind if we investigate your car. You haven't had a chance to look inside. Absolutely not. No one in their right mind would ever allow the police to do such a thing.
If you want to search his car, you will need a warrant.
So Ledger, when you were in the garage, did you see Anton's car? Yes, it was there. If our theory is correct, then Anton must have already died before the rock was moved. The body must have been moved. But to where? Looking over the exits, the only options are the front door and the garage. So that leaves the garage. If Mr. Eubank's car wasn't an option and Anton's car stayed there overnight, I think that leaves only one option. Mr. Ledger's car.
Excuse me? Why would he possibly do that?
I'm not sure why, but it would explain why he wouldn't want us to check his car. There might be evidence in there. Oh, Detective Swift, quit joking around. Accuse the president of Eubank Investments of tampering with a crime scene isn't funny. The president who only got there after the former president died. If you want to let us look, then we will get a warrant.
You can only get a warrant if you can prove for certain you will find something. As it stands, I doubt any judge will grant you a warrant. If he needed a car, why would he use his own? Let me explain. If Anton's car was in the parking garage, Lowell could have grabbed the keys from the body. Afterwards, Lowell could have just driven Anton's car to Nickel and Diamond's Antique and left the body there. After leaving the body at the store, Lowell could have taken a bus or simply walked back to pick up his own car. We know Anton's car only entered the parking lot once, so his car didn't leave the garage.
Ah, okay. As I was thinking all the damage to Anton's car could have been something we could pin on him. Because he probably does not know how to drive stick.
Most people don't. We know that there's wool in Anton's car.
Oh, I get it. I get what happened. He tried to take the car, but he figured out he couldn't drive it. And he did some minor damage to the car. So he never actually left the garage with it.
Well, here's something different. We spoke with Meg and she told us some very important information. And what would that be? That she's working on the car.
It's a little too vague. We need evidence that tells us a clear answer.
Meg told us a lot about Anton's car. I don't think her statement works here. But maybe something else she told us would work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he couldn't have driven it stick. Before you poke holes in our theories, poke the holes in your own. When we spoke with the mechanic, she told us that Mr. Chambers drives a custom-built stick shift. Most people wouldn't be able to drive that. That is true. My husband tried driving it once and almost crashed it. But this is nothing but speculation.
According to the mechanic, there were dents and scratches and a broken taillight before she fixed it up. But I doubt someone who drives their car every day would cause that. My theory is simple. He tried to use Mr. Chambers' car, couldn't drive it, damaged it in the garage, gave up, and used his own car. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. What happened? And again, speculation on when the car was damaged. You can't prove that the car was damaged that very night. Miss Ledger, can you drive stick? Because according to our evidence, your car is automatic. If you can, you'll need to prove it. I don't need to answer. I'll just use whatever I say against me.
Detective, we both know you need something more solid than that. Prove to us that his car was originally used to move the body. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the
We have
wool.
something. The mechanic told us that they found some clumps of wool in the car. All we have to do is match it to the rug from his office.
And how will you know if it matches that rock? It's long gone. You do have the picture of you with the rock. All we need to do is cross-reference it with the rocks sold online. If the material matches, then we know it's the same rock. You detectives are more clever than I thought. That's all for naught. After all, there's something important you simply can't explain. Sounds fun. Tell us what it is. I wouldn't even know where to move the body. What happened to Mr. Chambers that night was completely unexpected. If the plan was to pin it on his attacker, then I would need to know that information beforehand. But I had no means to speak with him about it before his death. After all, I was in my office the whole time before I carried the rock out.
So how would he know? Mr. Eubank wouldn't have known about the attack, most likely.
Very likely not. What is his own statement?
He never saw Anton in the office. I mean, does the garage count as an office? No, apparently not. We do know when you talked to Mr. Chambers. When you showed us your phone call to the detective. I saw you had a call with him that night. Meaning you spoke to Anton after he had left the alleyway.
You can't prove that. And if we did talk, that doesn't mean he told me anything.
Lowell, I think that's more than enough reason to request a search warrant.
Mrs. Eubank, you're supposed to be on my side. Do something.
My job is to protect Eubank investments at all costs, including from within. I gave you enough of a chance to prove your innocence. Now your lies are a liability to yourself and my company. Your best bet is to just confess now so we can finally know what happened that night. If they search your car and find proof, it will only make things worse for you.
And all because I couldn't clean my car in time. Moving the body is a crime, one we intend to make you pay for. Yet you don't even know who the murderer is. Closest you got is me moving the body. Well, are you saying you know who killed Anton?
This is ridiculous.
Detective, how about a plea deal? You drop all charges against me, and I'll tell you everything I know. What do you have to bargain with? Simple. I know who the culprit is. I even have proof.
You expect us to believe that?
If you want the truth of the matter, you will accept my terms.
You can't just move a whole body and expect us to trade that away.
You two are only here because you are out of leads. You need my evidence, unless you want to keep running around like a pair of headless chickens. If you fulfill your end of the bargain, then I can accept those terms.
Detective!
Don't worry, Justina. I know what I'm doing. Where's the evidence? Do you take me for a fool? I'm not giving it to you until I sign the official deal. I suppose I can give you a tease. Owen Eubank was the one who killed Anton Chambers.
I know my husband! You would never do such a thing!
Believe it or not, it happened. The two of us carried the body down to the elevator to the garage. He offered me the parole of president if I helped clean up his mess. I wasn't going to turn down such a wonderful deal until the police ruined everything. That's why I had my backup plan. Get some evidence on Owen just in case.
You are throwing my whole company under the bus just to get out of this?
It's nothing personal, just business.
Then, as legal representative, I will look over any official deal written before he signs.
I'm sure you and Sue will have plenty to talk about then. Mr. Ledger, you are to remain here for the time being. It'll take a while to write up the plea deal. If you leave, it will be cancelled. Understood. Mrs. Eubank, we'll be bringing Owen Eubank in for questioning. I presume you will take up his defense?
Naturally, I will request that no questioning can be done until Mr. Ledger's evidence has been fully verified.
I agree. Once everything is settled, we'll return here later with Mr. Eubank. But now, this interrogation is over.
That was stressful.
It only feels stressful because it's not over. There are too many lingering questions.
Yes, there is.
We have some time before the plea deal is ready. We should investigate while we can.
But we already investigated Eubank Investments. Where else can we go?
What we need is information. If Mr. Eubank really is the culprit, was it premeditated or an accident? See what I'm getting at? Something happened in that room that led to Anton's death. And I bet money it's related to the company.
How do we figure out the motive?
Let's start from the top. What do those two have in common?
They're both rich. They both lead Eubank Investments? If only we knew how to find out more about Anton's business deals.
Then we need to figure that out. And I know just who to ask. I think we should talk to Chandra. She worked with Mr. Eubank long enough to know something. Your dad, Ash, has been talking to Red. We should see if he learned anything since yesterday.
Alright, so that's two people. Who else?
Besides witnesses, we should also go see Red. If there are any updates on the body, he would likely know.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go talk with all of them. Detective Hunt, are you here?
While you two were with Lowell, Ernest took Joy back to Eubank Investments. Since Joy is trying to cooperate with the police, they thought there might be evidence that could be useful. So they headed back to Eubank Investments. You can certainly go there now, but you wanted to speak with Chandra, right? She's waiting in the interrogation room. Ernest also left behind a gift for you too.
A gift? Oh my god. Oh my god. Why are you here still? Shouldn't you be in prison by now? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the world's greatest illusionist, Maggie Shawn. That is still a terrible name, Annie. Annie? What are you doing here? Pick a card and find out.
Since Annie worked with our victim, Ernest thought she might know something.
Sue! I had a whole trick planned!
If you want to deal with our district attorney, no magic until this case is done.
Fine! No magic until this case is done! So, what can the world's greatest illusionist do for you?
We know that Anton wants to buy the Klaus orphanage and hide that from the Eubanks. Do you know anything else that could help us out?
Anton's plans were to convert the old motel into townhouses, the fancy type, with a popular church and one of the best schools nearby. Wealthy families would pay handsomely for its spot. That's why he was lucky enough to get Bill to agree to move the orphanage back in March. Eubank Investments' plan is to get property everywhere in Azure City. He never told me directly, but knowing close-up magic makes borrowing papers pretty easy. Huh.
Thank you, Annie. If you have any issues with your statement, then we will let you know.
Hi, Joy. What are you up to?
The wonderful detective in red invited me to help him investigate. He said he could get me out of trouble if I cooperated, but he's currently in the president's office looking around.
Thanks for the tip. Since you were helping him, would you help us out as well?
Anything for our city's finest.
He's such a suck-up. I do like being called finest.
I do have something recorded you might want to hear. April 30th, 7:05 p.m. Eubank Investments reception desk. At Owen's request, Lowell tried arranging a meeting between Owen and Anton. When informed, Anton declined the meeting. He gave no reason why. I should look into this later. Beep. I didn't tell Mr. Eubank that he declined the meeting.
Anton refused.
Intriguing. So Mr. Eubank contacted Lowell. How did you find out? I best keep that information to myself.
So what stopped you from telling Mr. Eubank when he got here?
Because if I did, I wouldn't be able to eavesdrop on their meeting. 2 meetings worth of juicy information to send back to Vivica could get me a handsome paycheck from her. Well, the meeting was declined. Anything else we should know? How did you get involved with Vivica? She came in one day to have a meeting with Anton. We spoke a bit while she waited. I dropped some juicy rumors on her, and she asked if I could find any proof. Let's just say, I know how to get info around here. Juicy rumors, you say? Like what? Vivica wanted info to make the divorce go in her favor, so nothing to make him look like a bad father. The big rumor was about his gun and his small collection of ammo hidden in his office. We didn't find any ammo when we went in there earlier. Where would it be? I still don't know. And the best I could do was catch him bringing in ammo and then walking out without it.
Here you two are. Sue told me that the big man himself is being brought in for questioning soon.
Hey, Red, you heard right. When Eubank himself is coming by, we need all the evidence we can get.
Have you found anything?
Not yet. I've been searching Anton's desk. I tried getting into this computer, but I had no luck so far. It's password protected. There are also some updates on the autopsy report.
Okay.
Is it behind the chalkboard?
I think
Or his
so.
bookshelf?
I think it's behind the zero board.
As you know, Anton Chambers was shot twice. However, the gunshot residue was found on his coat's right arm. The first shot was a non-fatal shot to the abdomen, striking his right rib. The second was a fatal shot that pierced the heart, in which death was almost instantaneous. After the bullets were removed, they were tested for fingerprints. Despite their best efforts, we couldn't lift any fingerprints off either one.
Forensics has a way of lifting fingerprints on bullets, but it's very rare. Most of the time, the fingerprints get smudged to the point it's unusable.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're hoping that Anton being a gun enthusiast like to touch it as much as they were able to get a clean print. They almost got something off the first bullet, but no luck. The second bullet had no chance, but there's no way to prove he loaded it.
The gunpowder on his coat is what interests me. Where did that come from?
They believe he must have fired a gun sometime before he died. But we can't say exactly know what type of gun.
There was the bullet he fired upwards in the alleyway. But did it have come from that?
Forensics tested it, but it doesn't match. They said the gunpowder only matches if you fired the gun 3 feet from the ground. Both bullets fired from the murder weapon entered the body perpendicularly, and were close to their respective entry points.
I mean, was that not obvious?
It's official now. No room for doubt.
Thanks, Red. And now let's look around the place. It's behind the chalkboard.
Probably.
Miss Assistant, do you know what's written on here?
No! Looks like just numbers and shapes to me. When I looked earlier, Lowell said this information is strictly yada yada yada.
Sophie, help me move this.
Yes, sir.
Move it over there. Perfect.
Is that a safe?
Hold it.
I knew there was something hiding in here. If he was willing to bring a package of illegal bullets here, he must have had some place to hide them.
Then how do we get in? Looks like it needs a code.
Justy, do you have any evidence that might help?
So we're gonna find something to talk about that.
What have you been up to since we brought you in?
I got the case file from yesterday all cleaned up and ready for you too.
Yesterday's case file certainly saves me time, but why did you do that?
Something about yesterday's case left me wondering. What was Anton going to do about the flash drive? So I looked over the whole case.
Did you find something?
Nothing at all, but something tells me it might be important. So I got it for you two.
My favorite detectives, welcome back!
Do you know any other detectives?
Hey, Mac, we had forensics finish looking over Lowell's car. Do you happen to have the details? The forensics team looked over the whole car, both the trunk and seats. They found a small trace of blood and bits of white carpet in it. The blood belongs to Anton and the carpet matches to one of the in his office. Other than that, there was nothing unusual, except this paper found inside the glove box. It has S2021 written on it.
Safe 2021. What does S2021 mean?
You two are the detectives. Isn't it your job to figure it out?
I'm technically a clerk. I mean, yeah, but why was me do all the hard work?
Come on, Justy. Where's your sense of adventure? Figuring this out is half the fun.
Is it so wrong to just want all the answers to be given to me?
Then you shouldn't have been a detective.
I'm a clerk! Forensics found this paper in Lowell's car. Put S2021 as a safe combo.
I'll give it a try.
Click.
Looks like forensics was right on the money. It's open. Now what do we have here? Yes, his own private collection of gun accessories here.
This guy really liked guns, huh?
Even as a hobby, this is a bit too much for my liking.
But check this out, leftover bullet boxes.
This looks like... Oh, a pack of bullets. That's it? I expected something more illegal.
It's because these are hollow point bullets. Oh, should they hollow point?
Wow.
That is some pretty damn power potent stuff.
This isn't a full package. 2 bullets are missing. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think so. Is there any way to prove any of the bullets that shot Anton were from this box?
I'll send this over to our coroner, Rebecca. She can confirm if the bullets match.
There's something else. A clock? What's this doing here?
I know that clock. It's on the wall over there on Sunday night.
Come to think of it. I remember now. Joy said she saw the clock was missing.
Took you long enough. This is why you're the assistant and I'm the master.
But why had a clock in here?
It's stuck at 8 p.m., so I think it's broken.
Someone didn't want anyone to find this. As for why, I'll leave that to you two.
So why was the code to the safe in Lowell's car?
Oh, my dear assistant, you asked the wrong question. Detective Swift, what's the more important question?
Let me think. Is it who else knows the code to the safe?
Exactly. We can worry about how he knows later. Someone opened this safe, and so far, only Lowell and Anton could have opened it.
Why are you here? Detective, I thought we were going to speak with just Chandra. Why is Hana here?
I figured maybe her partner in crime could help. That's why I brought you two in. I'm hoping you two can answer some questions. Can you tell us anything we wouldn't know about the company?
Well, there is one thing, but I can't. I signed an NDA with the Eubanks. Plus, it wouldn't be right.
Eubank Investments has been hitting the red with a capital R.
Hana!
You signed the NDA. I did nothing of the sort.
How would you know this stuff then?
If anyone asks, I have a top secret network of spies that feed me all the information I need.
So, telling the police is forbidden, but telling friends is not? What do you mean by hitting the red?
Eubank Investments has been failing to make a profit for about a year now, with new investments not paying off. They need a bank loan and investors for their new projects, but they need a plan on how this money will be used. The bank won't just give a loan for nothing. They need to know what you can pay, that you can pay it off, and that you can offer collateral. To get the loan, they need the property that is worth investing in. My sources found out about it 3 months ago.
That's a lot more in depth than I was expecting. Coming from you.
What can I say? My sources are great.
You better hope your sources don't get in trouble because of you. It shouldn't be hard to find land to invest in. I can think of a few rundown areas that could use the investment.
If I had to guess, they don't seem eager to invest in the poorest areas. My sources at the poorest neighborhoods are risky ventures. The Eubank needs to find a safe investment or else the company is finished.
It's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah. Bashir said he's running out of risk-free land to invest in, so they haven't had the best luck. This also had a lot of context. Thank you, Hana. Tell your sources we thank them as well.
With everything that happened the last few weeks, it seems that you are recovering well. It might look so, but I haven't fully recovered. I started getting seizures and the doctor thinks it could be permanent.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad head injury then.
I started taking medication to try and help. Seizures from being hit on the head?
If the head injury is strong enough, it's possible. At its worst, it could be permanent.
I'm not even allowed to drive until I go half a year without a seizure.
Lucky for her, her best friend Hana is here to help. Until she recovers, I'm going to try and drive her around the city as needed.
Aren't you two going to prison?
Apparently not.
Dad, are you here?
Justina, Detective Swift, it's good to see you two. Is everything alright? Mr. Smith, we wanted to follow up on what happened yesterday. Oh, please, we're basically family now. Call me Ash.
Is there something we weren't told? Are you basically family?
Harris called me yesterday to explain what happened. Looks like we need to find another buyer.
So yeah, I'm not actually Southern. I'm actually a convicted criminal. I tried getting a new start. Anton's an asshole though.
There's some legal issues to settle since you signed the paperwork and everything. But thankful, Gray is able to help sort it out.
Gray? Who's that?
Ray Earl, the nice clerk's brother.
Didn't you know? Sue's older brother is a business attorney, like Mrs. Eubank, but works for all sorts of small businesses. I'm surprised she got in touch with you.
I'll tell you about it later. I better catch you up with what I learned. Gray has been helping me make sure the store can sell after what happened yesterday. He says Luna should be clear from any legal troubles. I really liked Harris. Seemed like a stand-up kind of guy. But I trust Gray to figure that out. Still, I doubt Eubank Investments would want the store. They have no use for it.
So, I think we've spoken to everyone.
So does anyone have any contradiction?
So let's look at Annie's. The old motel into townhouses. It's fine. The plan is to get property everywhere in Azure City.
Ah. Yeah, you don't know why Eubank would get it, but then Annie says the plan was to get all of it. Right.
Yeah. We have a witness who has found out that Anton had been trying to gather property around the city. Anton could have used this property's location for a profitable development. He already tried that with an orphanage, and he was willing to do it again here. Which is why we are trying to get as much information as possible.
Why would he need a property so badly?
Collateral.
Right.
I think. It seems like he needs to keep gaining property to keep the company afloat. We believe it's connected to his death. The timing is impeccable otherwise. Do you know anything about Anton that could help us out?
I don't know how helpful it is, but I can tell you a story. The full story about what happened 10 years ago. You mean when the store was bought? Justina told me yesterday. There's a bit more to the story. My mother and I left out. 10 years ago, Saul and I were looking to start a business and came across Eubank Investments. As you know, Luna was hurt. I spoke with the Eubanks at the time. Justina might have said they simply agreed, but they didn't. As Luna's hospital bills were piling up, Saul pleaded with the Eubanks for support, but they ignored him. They wanted to pay for the hospital bill and admit that they lied about the quality of the building, but they refused to listen.
You never told me about this!
You were 12 at the time.
A simple story was easier to explain. Anton in particular was refusing to budge one bit on the matter. He said that it was the building construction company's fault, and they were in no way liable. They told Saul that he was at fault for not bringing a safety inspector with him. Saul threatened to press charges against him for lying about the state of the building, and that finally got their attention. They spent hours in a single room trying to reach an agreement. It was almost pushed to court. Then suddenly, Mrs. Eubank gave in to our demands. She gave us the building and paid for Luna's hospital bill, provided we dropped the case. I'll pick your statement. Why did she give in later? I can't say. Maybe it was Justina's mom. She was ready to throw a chair if I didn't stop her. You would think she was Luna's mom. Anton was not happy, but was powerless to stop it.
But wasn't he president?
He was, but Mr. Eubank took his wife's side, and that was that. As to why Mr. Eubank did that, I guess if they were married at the time, of course he would support his wife. I wonder if Anton ever let that go. That's the full story of how we got the store.
Why didn't you tell me all this? You had all those details for 10 years.
Those 7 days of fighting went all for this building. They were for Luna too. We didn't want their money out of greed, or to have them pay for hurting her. But we agreed to tell you and your sister a nicer story. There's enough hate in the world, and we don't want it to be harder that. Well, we don't want hate to be a cycle. That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah. When this all started, I was sure the Eubanks were kind and friendly because of what you told me. That's why I joined the embezzlement case on my first day.
How were they when you met them?
Mrs. Eubank is fine. He is great. Mrs. Eubank clearly was as kind as I was told. Mr. Eubank, he's scarier. A liar and controlling. I don't see him as a murderer. This whole case, it's so complex. I don't know how we will solve it.
I don't know if anything I told you will help you find the culprit. But if anyone can catch them, it's you. You got that fire in your eyes, like a furnace ready to make beautiful glass. I've known you all your life. Never seen you more invested in anything like these cases. Even if no one calls you detective, you are one to me.
Oh, trust me, I've been called a detective a lot recently. Trust me, I don't have to go far for someone to call me one. But thanks, I needed that. I'm so a little mad at you and Mom for hiding it.
Even you, when you have kids someday, you'll understand.
So what is the next one that we have to figure out? I mean, really all we got was Anton wasn't pleased.
Was Anton sabotaging the company?
Out of spite?
I don't know, it took 9 years for him to do it. But he probably thought he knew best.
So let's try and go to Joy and see if we can use your dad's thing against her.
No.
Oh, really? Do we have any leads we can use?
That's a good point, I forgot about that. Return to the station after investigating.
Oh, we might be done then. That was not the station, that was the officers in the station.
I mean, it is the station.
Technically, yes.
Well, let's just talk. I don't know what's more shocking, Joy spying on Anton or her being paid by Anton's ex-wife, Vivica.
For me, it was the ex-wife part. Just really hate his guts than that.
Yeah, and we can't even listen to the recording either. This whole case could be solved.
If you ask me, we don't need the full recording, just a struggle. Joy's other evidence was enough to get us this far. Let's finish what we started. Those plea deals should be ready. Come on, we don't want to miss this.
Are you sure this deal is worth it? He moved a dead body and is throwing his own boss under the bus. Are we sure we can trust him?
Too late now. Come on. Glad you could all make it. Mr. Eubank is in the interrogation room. He will be ready if Lowell keeps his end of the deal.
I will only accept concrete proof. Anything less and I will demand defamation charges against my husband.
I have quite the audience. It's an honor to be the one solving this little case. Without further ado, here you go. A photo I took right after Anton died.
What happened?
When I arrived, he was already like this. I simply took a picture. Owen was shot.
Yeah, it looks like Owen, not Anton. Though, that might just be the angle. If his body hit the desk, that would explain why the phone turned off and Joy couldn't eavesdrop.
Where's Anton's body? It is
Owen.
Owen.
Not Anton.
It is Owen. Owen got shot. He's out of frame because he fell closer to the door. You can't see it or blood because of the angle. We confirmed the time was at 8:05 p.m. that night. I see. I'll add it to the evidence. I don't think Owen got shot, though, looking at it. He certainly fell against the desk, though. Did they struggle for the gun?
Possibly. That doesn't look like a revolver. If you need me, I will be in the interrogation room with my client. I won't speak on this evidence until then.
Well, I did my part. Now, if you would excuse me. Mr. Ledger, you'll remain here. On what grounds? All charges have been dropped, remember? We need to determine whether this photo and the crime scene have been tampered with. Once we verify the authenticity, you'll be free to go. Fine, but everything I gave is real. I look forward to being let go. Owen Eubank, thank you for being here.
I've been informed of what Lowell has said, and he has lied to the police and has put my company at risk. I am no murderer.
I understand your concern, but there are a lot of questions we need answers to, and we hope that you can answer them.
There is a perfectly reasonable explanation for what happened. My client was blackmailed. Blackmailed by whom? Lowell? I couldn't say anything or else he would pin the murder on me. Ugh. If the press got that photo, my whole company would fall apart. Then my family. All I had to do was make him president, and he would help hide all this. But since it seems he intends to pin it on me anyway, I will defend myself.
If you're so serious, then there is one key question to all of this. You know how Anton Chambers died?
He fell down some stairs. I was attacked. I was afraid for my life. I had to defend myself. Then that means it was you! In self-defense. My client was invoking his right to self-defense. One that he would have brought up to the police had Lowell Ledger not attempted to blackmail him. Detective! Can he get away with it in self-defense?
The legal definition of self-defense provides three factual elements: justified fear, inability to escape, and using force only when necessary. To assert your claim of self-defense, you will need to explain how you met all three elements. Mr. Eubank, the matter of you being blackmailed can be saved for later.
My client can satisfy the legal definition, as you will soon see.
Then let's start from the beginning. Mr. Eubank, can you please explain what led to him attacking you?
Yes. Give me a moment to remember. While at home, something important popped up that required me to meet with Anton. I contacted Lowell to set up a meeting so we could discuss it in person. We agreed to meet in order to talk about the future of our business. It's a shame, really, that, where's the thing?
And Mr. Eubank was never told.
Mr. Chambers had no intention of meeting you. You set a meeting with Mr. Chambers, but he declined it, meaning he didn't want to meet with you. What? How did you? I contacted Lowell to have the meeting, and he said Anton was free at the time. Asking him to set it up isn't the same as having Mr. Chambers agree to it. If I set a meeting, it happens. He isn't allowed to decline. My client wouldn't even know until arriving there. We already have your witness's testimony stating that he left our house before he was informed. What witness are you talking about? Who saw me leaving my own house? It's a long story.
Even if you did leave before finding out, what matters is that Mr. Chambers didn't want to see him. And why is that?
You are asking the wrong man. I can't explain his actions.
But he wouldn't have attacked you for no reason. So it's in your best interest to tell us what the meeting was about.
I refuse. I'm here to state my reason for self-defense, not talk business.
If he attacked you, this could have explained your need for self-defense.
Seems I have no choice. The B2TM? What the what?
The what now?
Our meeting was on finalizing details of the B2TM plan. I wanted our company to grow beyond the walls of this city, to expand across this whole country. Ant and I both shared the same vision for the future of our company. We just had a few key metrics to work out, which we normally settle in my office. But since he had another meeting in his office beforehand, I decided just to go to him. Where was it?
You might need to actually question some of this. I'm actually curious about that plan.
What's the B2TM plan? I'm glad you asked. It's a back to the mission plan.
Ah!
We spent so long building up Azure City, we forgot our original mission. To build the infrastructure of the world, one city at a time. Alright, back to where I was originally going. So, you want to tell us about why the hell you two argued? Is this not counting it?
Oh,
Really?
interesting.
His own statement said there was an argument, though. There, I guess hers works. Screw it. Mr. Eubank, Mr. Chambers' actions say otherwise. I'm sure you are aware Mr. Chambers was supposed to be brought in for questioning yesterday. The reason being that he wanted to use underhanded methods to take over the orphanage to build townhouses on the land. He clearly wanted more property inside the city. So we know he didn't agree with you. Le gasp. That deal took place in March. The B2TM plan started only recently. Yes, of course. He must have changed his mind since.
But he never disclosed to sell the orphanage to you. He hid that because he knew you would disagree.
Well, both my client and I were completely unaware of his actions. Had we known, we would have stopped him doing so at once.
I do not think Owen did not know.
As far as my client knew, they agreed on this plan together.
Mr. Eubank, it seems you and Anton had different views of the company. Can you share how different you two could be?
Fine. The sooner this is over, the better.
Just be
Why do
honest.
people take so long with this?
Just be honest.
I mean, to be fair, if they were honest, the case would be over.
That is true.
It would be no gameplay. It would be a visual novel story only.
That is very true.
It's only natural that he and I disagreed on a few things. But we have been a team for years, seeing eye to eye on every major issue. That's a lie. His data analysis skills were second to none when deciding our path forward. And I negotiated our company to where it is today. That's why I can't imagine what caused him to suddenly attack me. It's a shame I know exactly what caused him to attack. We dispute here. Story time! There's a major issue that you disagreed with Mr. Chambers about. 10 years ago, to be exact. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Eubank Investments' first project in the Sunrise District. There was an accident at one of the stores, and in the end, the store was sold to Soul Hot. He worked with a glassmaker who told us that Mr. Chambers refused to accept any blame. Screw it, new headcanon. Soul Hot is married to Lotta Hot. Don't know why, don't know where she is, but you outranked him and agreed to sell it at a discount. That was 10 years ago. How do you know that? That glassmaker is my dad, and the one who was hurt is my friend. Your dad is right. I sided against him when we started. But my dad doesn't know why. Can you explain that? If you must know, it's because I asked him to. When Luna was hurt, he had only been a few months old. At first, I was on Anton's side, choosing to fight the claims that it was our fault. But hearing both your parents and Soul talk about the injury to Luna, I just couldn't do it. How could I be a mother and tell other parents their daughter's life wasn't our fault? So I asked Owen to try and help them. Paris was right. If that happened to our daughter, we would have done what your parents did. Anton was also a parent at the time, but he didn't see it our way. He was kind of an asshole. He thought accepting the blame would only make us look weak, which he said is a death sentence for a company like ours. But I trusted my wife more than I trusted him, so I made my choice.
And what happened?
He told us he would accept our judgment and let it go. It was just one building, and the district was big enough that we didn't need all of it.
They never truly let it go. Disagreements can lead to more violent solutions.
He attacked me suddenly when we were supposed to have our meeting. Yes, I pulled rank on him in the past, but only when needed. And yes, him still buying the stores against the B2GM plan. But our company had a bright future long before that night. But when he attacked me, he threw all that away. What a shame that we totally know about, something there in the red. A bright future? Except that isn't true. We have sources that say the company has been in the red. You need a new property to get more investors or a loan from the bank. How do they know all this shit? That information is not public knowledge. If the police leak that information...
Mr. Eubank, we have no intention of doing so. We only want to solve this case. If you and Mr. Chambers had a fight, would it have been related to the company's financial situation? And that's why you didn't want to tell us?
I was attacked. I was afraid for my life. I had to defend myself. Stop saying that!
Yeah, I have to say it. It's required to claim self-defense. That said, his lawyer seems awfully quiet. Mrs. Eubank, is what we just said news to you?
I did know. I only found out 2 days ago. Ferris. You're not going to tell them. Owen, I completely believe you are innocent. What happened to Anton was not your fault. But these two are good people, and if there's anyone I trust to solve this case, it would be them. 10 years ago, you trusted my judgment. Please, trust me again. When we got married all those years ago, I told you there was no other person I would trust with my life. If you believe it's important to share it, then I trust you.
Aww. How did you find out 2 days ago?
After everything with Anton, I was preparing his defense the day before he was supposed to come in. Regardless of his actions at the orphanage, I was going to make sure our company's image wasn't damaged. That's when I uncovered something. Our company had stopped growing, with some investments not paying off as expected. Owen never told me. I handled all the legal matters. Owen never told me. I handled all the legal matters. But he purposely kept some details away from me, so I confronted him, and we started yelling. And we scared our poor child. We should keep out the part where Fee overheard them. I told her at the time I would handle it. I had been trying to keep the company going by any means possible. I even started selling some of my older golf trophies to cover some expenses. Trophies? Surely they can't be that expensive. Collectors would pay around 1 million alms for one.
Yikes.
Oh my god.
That is an expensive golf trophy.
What? That's more than I've ever seen in my life. I had a deal in Appleton ready, and I was sure it would fix everything. Anton wanted to keep investing in properties in Azure City. We couldn't afford to do both, so we needed to pick one. It was only after the embezzling that I started having doubts, but I wanted to handle it without needing the police. Even after the orphanage deal came to light, I still wanted to give him a chance. We were supposed to meet after everything with the police was settled. Once Ferris found out what I was hiding, I needed to speak with him that night.
And you left in the middle of the fight?
I had Lowell schedule our meeting and I needed to keep it. I figured once I met with him, then I could explain it better to Ferris. But when I got back home, I couldn't let her know he was in the office at all. I wanted to keep my family away from Lowell's blackmail.
Well, says you offered the job to him. You said it was blackmail. Mrs. Eubank, were you aware of this before today?
No. Owen only told me after Lowell asked for a plea deal.
Mr. Eubank, what happened when you got there?
When I got there, Anton told me he had to go. That's when I stopped him, telling him we had some important matters to discuss. He tried to push past me and I told him he wouldn't leave until we were done. I had plans set in motion in Appleton, and unless he had something bigger, we were going to present my plans to the bank. That's when he pulled his gun on me. I was so surprised my monocle popped off. They do that a lot, actually. It's why I carry 50 in my pocket. It popped off! Only my right eye had proper vision for the next few minutes. I couldn't put a new one in, so what happened next is a bit messy. He said, "You think that backwater town is going to save this company? You can't make a profit from poor farmers. So step aside before you regret it. Something important happened tonight that I needed to settle." So he could have stepped aside but didn't. Why engage him after he pulled his gun? As an exception to the legal definition of self-defense, our country's castle doctrine affords a person a special privilege. They can stand their ground in any place they own, including a place of business. My client was attacked inside Eubank Investment, which he owns. Thus, under castle doctrine, he can continue to claim self-defense, even if he had the ability to escape.
What does something important happen tonight that I need to settle mean?
I don't know. At the time, I didn't think about it. There was one matter that I could be dealing with. Harris Newbuck used his taser on Mr. Chambers right before stealing his flash drive and running off. If Anton was determined enough, he might have gone after Harris to get it back.
That would make sense. Mr. Eubank, do you think Mr. Chambers would do it?
Let me think. I hate to say it, but Anton had a strong personality. But he went to his office to meet with the detective instead of going after Harris. He could have gone back to load his gun, but he only had one bullet that night. Yet he raised his gun at me. He would have shot me if I hadn't acted fast.
But we know there's one bullet.
Is this not it? If a bullet was missing, then it must have been taken. But this doesn't explain where it went. There's better evidence to explain the missing bullet.
So we are on the right path, it's just not the right thing.
Has he ever used that strong personality to threaten others? I mean, yes. I invoke my right to remain silent. Eubank Investments takes no responsibility for any actions Anton Chambers is taken as president.
Okay, he did a lot of bad shit.
However, Eubank Investments is open to cooperate with any investigation as long as a warrant is provided. At this time, we accept no further questions. Truly, the art of saying nothing.
That really is the art of saying nothing.
So it's something on the third or fourth one.
Yeah.
Right.
There's the autopsy. They don't have an actual autopsy report for me to use. Mr. Eubank, there's a problem with that theory. Anton Chambers was shot twice by his own gun, meaning his gun was loaded with a second bullet. What do you mean he was shot twice?
Were you unaware that the first shot wasn't lethal?
When he raised his gun at me, I fought back. I hit his leg with my umbrella, and while Anton was distracted, fought to keep his gun within view of my right eye. We ended up hitting the wall at some point. Then, a bang. What happened next? I can't remember. It happened so fast, and the next thing I knew, my back hit the desk and the gun was in my hand. I was knocked out for just a moment, and that's when Lowell came in. Was I right that Lowell's the killer?
Might be, or it might just be the gun dropped and fired a shot.
When I checked Anton's gun, it was empty, so I thought my shot killed him. Did you ever check the body? I was so in shock. I just took Lowell's word. My mind was more worried about covering up the shooting than figuring out what happened.
I see why you hid the truth. It certainly makes you sound guilty, but if you only remember one shot before being knocked out, that means you weren't the killer.
But hold on, how do you know he's telling the truth? I'm telling you the truth because my wife says she trusted you two.
I just think I got it.
I have no reason to hide this.
I just think I got it. Lowell saw the chance, and while Owen was knocked out, he grabbed the gun and shot again on Anton to kill him.
Yeah, he shot Anton again, killing him, and then blackmailed Owen to make him think he did it. He told me he couldn't remember what happened either. Even if he was lying to you two, he wouldn't lie to me. Then, who shot him?
There was only one person who was in the room after the first bullet went off.
Between the time of the first shot and Joy arriving upstairs, there was only one person there. Lowell Ledger. Lowell did it? This whole time?
I'm thinking the same thing. If you saw the first shot, he just needed to fire a second shot to kill him. Then he could blackmail Mr. Eubank into thinking he pulled the trigger.
That good-for-nothing weasel! How dare he! I killed... What the hell is that?
Oh, he's going to hit the table.
He killed my friend! Blackmailed me! And tried to pin his murder on me! When I get my hands on him, I'll... Oh my god. That felt good. Now, would you kindly drag Lowell in here and charge him with murder?
We can bring him in again, but charging him is harder. We still don't have any decisive evidence.
I'm going to stay. Someone has to make sure you do your jobs right. Oh my god, that was amazing.
Before you go in, you should know we checked the photo. It's real. He didn't fake it.
That's good to know, but we never questioned that, right?
In case you forgot, his agreement is that he would turn over evidence in exchange for us dropping all previous charges. Meaning, we can only charge him with murder. Otherwise, he's walking out of here.
So the feeling I didn't have, it's back. Catching a murderer is way above my pay grade. To be fair, being a detective is way above your pay grade too. We don't even have proof Lowell killed anyone.
Hey Sue, can you give us a moment? I do need to get back to work. Good luck in there. I'll get the paperwork ready for when you both solve this case. Hey Justy, you trust me, right?
Breathe in, breathe out. I trust you.
Then you'll be fine. But no matter what, I have your back. You can do this. Partner? Well, Ledger, do you know why we brought you back here? What can I say? I couldn't leave anyway. Did things get settled with Mr. Eubank? It's settled, but we have one more question for you. Why did you shoot Mr. Chambers? Do you think you're funny? I gave you all the proof you needed. And now you think I committed the murder?
Detective, evidence is everything. I expect some evidence before asking a loaded question. He's the only person who could have done it. Mr. Eubank was knocked out at the time.
Excuse you two just ate up like wild pigs. Fortunately, I saw the whole thing. I was nearby at the time and looked into the window when I saw them. I saw the whole thing from start to end. Only afterwards did I take the picture.
You expect us to?
Perfect. Just what I wanted to hear. I looked into the window when I saw the two talking, but I couldn't hear them. Suddenly, Mr. Chambers pulled out his gun and aimed it at Mr. Eubank. Mr. Eubank hit Mr. Chambers with his umbrella, then took the gun while he was stunned. With the gun in his right hand, Mr. Eubank fired his first shot. Anton was hurt, but he launched at Mr. Eubank. That's when the second shot was fired. Anton pushed him back into the desk, and that's what knocked Mr. Eubank out.
But he only ever has it with just one shot.
Yeah, he only ever has it with one shot. Previous case summary. Let's see what's in that. Nope.
No. Something crashed to the floor. So it recorded something heavy hitting a wall, followed by something that crashed to the floor. Then the gunshot. So, they pulled out a gun and aimed at Mr. Eubank. He hit Mr. Chambers with his umbrella, then took a gun while he was stunned.
Yeah.
There we go. Haha! Lowell, your story doesn't add up. If Mr. Eubank did shoot the gun from his right hand, it wouldn't match with the first bullet's entry point. The bullet needed to shoot straight into his right side, but he couldn't do that with his right hand. And if he wanted to just shoot Mr. Chambers, he would have aimed close to the chest.
I must have been mistaken. Oh yes, I know. When Mr. Chambers pointed his gun at Mr. Eubank, the two circled each other. The gun was in his left hand. From my angle, it was in his right hand.
But he couldn't see from his monocle.
Yeah? And everything played out as I said, with the two switching sides. My left and right hand were mixed up, a simple mistake. Mr. Eubank was faced towards the door with his back towards the desk. Mr. Chambers was the one who had his back towards the door. That's why I said it was in Mr. Eubank's right hand, because I saw it on the right side of him. When Mr. Eubank grabbed the gun in his left hand, he steadied his aim and fired. And everything played out as I said previously.
He can't see! Lowell, that explanation doesn't make sense either! Mr. Eubank's monocle fell out of his eye when Mr. Chambers pulled his gun out. He's blind in his left eye without it. If he was going to fire it, he would have used his right hand. That way he could see more clearly. But hold on. Being blind in one eye doesn't make it impossible to fire it. My husband is useless without both eyes.
But Lowell did say steady, meaning that the shot was not fired as soon as it was stolen. Don't get so hung up on a single word. He still shot him. And let me ask you one follow-up question. Was he wearing his monocle when he fired? He was. That's how he was able to take the gun and fire it before Mr. Chambers could react. You have my word against his.
Well, we can prove that he did lose his monocle. Here's how we know he lost his monocle before firing.
A photo? I guess it's the only thing, but I don't really think it would be that. I guess.
In this picture, you see Mr. Eubank without his monocle. If he had it when he was attacked, where was it?
Simple, it fell off when he hit the desk. The force knocked it off him.
Then where is it? Shouldn't it be around his body after hitting the desk?
Well, it must be out of shot. That's right, it is, but I think I know why. Think about the positions of the two. If Mr. Eubank had his back towards the desk, even if it fell out when he was surprised, it would still be on the floor. But if the two flipped, with Anton back towards the desk, his monocle would have fallen off and be out of shot.
But that doesn't make sense. My husband woke up after this photo was taken. How did he get there?
I was thinking about that. It's basic, really. During the struggle for the gun, they must have switched sides. Mr. Chambers pulled his gun out with his right hand. What would Mr. Eubank do?
You'd push it right. Aim it towards the right wall while keeping it in his line of sight for his right eye.
It's the only way to line up with what we know. He would move around his left side while avoiding the gun. That way he would be behind Mr. Chambers.
But why would he do that? Why wouldn't he go for the gun?
Simple, he didn't want to kill Anton. He must have tried to restrain him by grabbing him from the back to do so. And how did he get shot?
Where is the first shot from?
I think that might be the president's office phone. Nope. Is it the gunpowder? Ah, okay.
We know from the autopsy report that he had a gunshot residue on his right arm. Mr. Chambers would only have had that if he fired a shot. He must have moved the gun closer to his right side once Mr. Eubank got behind him. Meaning Anton was the one who fired the first shot. Unless you believe he shot himself with the second shot. You proved Lowell lied and explained how the first shot was fired. So, he was pushing the gun away, and it managed to actually point at himself.
I'm actually thinking...
Anton.
I'm actually thinking it hit the watch. It hit the clock.
The clock, firstly?
Yeah, I think it hit the clock.
Depending on the angle, it would have shot and hit the clock. But if there's only ever one bullet loaded...
Yeah, but here's the thing.
There'd be no reason to get the gun.
Here's the thing. He always says he has one bullet loaded, but wasn't there 2 hollow point bullets missing from inside the safe?
But my client's being accused of murder, not perjury. You still need to connect the bullet in Anton's heart to my client directly. There isn't any proof Lowell even touched the gun.
Yeah, that's true.
All fingerprints were removed from it, so anyone could have held it. Mr. Chamber loaded the gun with a second bullet to go after Mr. Newbuck. And even if Lowell loaded it, you couldn't even lift fingerprints off the bullet that was fired. But we know that he only carries one bullet in his gun. Why would he load a second one just for one person? The motive for why isn't important. He was the only person who would have loaded it. So it's only reasonable that he was the sole person who loaded both bullets. There has to be some proof he loaded it. Apparently it's his statement. Why? So Mr. Chambers loaded the gun with a second bullet to go after Mr. Newbuck. Hunt's statement worked. Anton Chambers was shot twice, a non-fatal shot to the abdomen, striking his right rib, and a second fatal shot piercing the heart, from which death was almost instantaneous. No fingerprints were found on both bullets inside Anton.
Wait, because we cannot tell who loaded them. Because even his fingerprints were not on them.
Mrs. Eubank, the evidence doesn't support that. According to the autopsy report, no fingerprints could be found on the bullets. We don't know who loaded them, including Anton himself. What if he only loaded the first one? And our culprit loaded the second one?
What good is a lack of fingerprints? It means you lack evidence to prove I loaded it. That's all you got. It's a waste of my time.
If Lowell did load the second shot, he must have done it after the first shot was fired. So there must have been some evidence he left behind.
Well, there isn't. I'm in the clear, and you can change that.
Aha! Well, find something that made you not in the clear.
Mr. Eubank could have grabbed the bullet easily. There also isn't proof that Anton didn't load the second bullet himself. There was time between Detective Hunt leaving and Mr. Eubank arriving for him to load it. I didn't know about Anton having bullets in his office at the time. How do you know that? So if I wanted to kill Anton, I would have picked a different method.
That isn't true, Lowell. He doesn't keep all his bullets in an open space. We forgot about the safe. When we went back to the president's office, we found a safe behind the blackboard. When we looked inside, we found out that's where he keeps his gun accessories. We even found a pack of bullets with 2 bullets missing.
What are you getting at? He puts his bullets in his safe. No one should have had access to them. Unless someone took them out. Someone grabbed the bullet from the safe to kill Mr. Chambers. And since Mr. Chambers didn't kill himself, Mr. Eubank was knocked out, that leaves only you. But that was Mr. Chambers' safe. I couldn't access it.
We have evidence that states otherwise. Here's how we know you could access the safe. It's called. Though we don't know when he got that.
Yeah.
According to the mechanic, there was a piece of paper with S2021 written on it, which is the exact code for the safe. Care to explain why it was in your car, Lowell?
And where does it say it's a safe code? You're the one saying it's a code, not me. There's no proof I knew that what those numbers meant. And even if I knew, it was the code to Anton's safe. His safe was hidden in his office. How would I know where it was?
You can't expect anyone to believe that. While it is possible you could have opened the safe, that piece of paper is circumstantial evidence. There's too much room for doubt. You need more direct evidence to charge him.
So we need to prove he opened the safe, or was the only one who could have opened it.
Oh no! That's all we have left!
Nothing else to say? Then it looks like we are done here. It was fun, but that's all the time I have left.
We're so close! We can't let him get away with this! Detective, there must be something left!
We looked over all the evidence. He covered his tracks well.
He can't be charged for murder without stronger proof. And with the plea deal, all charges for moving the body are dropped. Legally, you have to let him walk out of here. So, what to do?
Ugh.
Well, I don't think we have anything for murder, so we revoke the plea deal?
I suppose so.
Mrs. Eubank did a lot of it. She watched over it, so I'm sure she knows any loophole in it.
Yeah.
If we can't catch him for murder, then we'll do the next best thing. We will revoke the plea deal.
Break the deal? I must be losing my hearing. Break my plea deal? The deal is done. Signed and legally binding. You can't break it.
That's not completely true. Unlike you, I read the whole thing. I helped write a few lines too. It states that the deal will be null and void if the evidence was tampered with. Tampering with evidence isn't just changing the photo. If you changed the crime scene before you took that picture, it would also be considered tampered evidence. And if you read the fine print, it states that you have until midnight to determine that. Check your watch. It's not midnight yet.
You're supposed to be on my side.
Whatever do you mean? As your lawyer, I'm telling you the terms of your own contract. I'm sure the detectives already knew everything I just said.
Go ahead. Do whatever you want with that photo. It's a real photo taken straight from my phone. Nothing about it was changed.
Lowell must have set up the room to look like that way. But what could we be forgetting?
Clock.
There's something in this picture that's missing. Where's the clock, Lowell?
I don't know. You tell me.
The president's office had a clock on the wall when I visited Anton last week. But today it was broken and we found it in the safe. Someone had to place it there. You were the only person who could have.
Why would I hide it? It was just a clock. The clock was broken at 8 p.m. And you couldn't let anyone know that. Otherwise, this other evidence wouldn't line up.
It's because of the 5-minute time difference. In fact, Mr. Eubank said something to us earlier. I was knocked out for just a moment, and that's when Lowell came in. But that's not true. He was knocked out for much longer. If Mr. Eubank knew how much time he had passed, that would break the illusion, and he would start suspecting you were involved.
You think I moved the broken clock to the safe to trick Mr. Eubank? I do. Between opening the safe to grab another bullet and rearranging the crime scene, you needed time. How foolish. Your theory is as broken as the very clock you want to use against me. You left one single hole in your theory. How did it break? Are you saying that it's impossible? It is, and here's why. Only Mr. Eubank or Anton could have broken the clock like you suggested. But those two never went near the clock. They stayed at the center of the room during their struggle. Nor do they have any motive to break the clock. As you can see, there's nothing that would cause the clock to break.
Is it this? I know why! Joy said something today that I haven't forgotten.
I heard a sound like something heavy hit a wall, followed by something that crashed to the floor. Then the gunshot happened.
Mr. Eubank also said something similar as well. I hit his leg with my umbrella, and while Anton was distracted, fought to keep his gun within view of my right eye. We ended up hitting the wall at some point, and then a bang. It seems during their struggle, Anton and Mr. Eubank hit the wall, the clock fell, then the gunshot happened. We have it recorded too, with the recording ending exactly at 8 p.m. Sunday night. That's when the clock broke. And since Anton had been shot and Mr. Eubank was unconscious, that leaves you with 5 minutes where you are the only person who could have moved it, which breaks your plea deal as you tampered with the crime scene in the photo.
Where did you get that? There's no way that that can be acceptable evidence.
If the conversation was being presented as evidence, you're right, that would be illegal. Other recorded sounds are perfectly acceptable.
You You can't be serious! My deal broke by some damn loophole!
And since you were the only person who could have moved the clock, you must have been the one to open the safe. Anton was dead, and my husband was knocked out. That means they can also charge you for first-degree murder. Once this is over, you're going to need a good lawyer.
No! After everything I did, damn it all!
Oof. Wow. He finally had an ace attorney breakdown.
Yeah, he actually broke down. Well, have you finally given up?
Lowell, how could you? How could you kill Anton and free my husband from murder?
I already told the detectives, but I guess you wouldn't know. My family barely got by growing up, and I had to change that. That's why I wanted a job. I never cared about the company. I just wanted the money. But there's one thing I wanted more than money. Power. When I saw Anton get shot, I knew I could keep Mr. Eubank under my thumb. No longer would I be just an assistant. I would have the power to make a name for myself. I went in, saw Anton spawn in the floor, and was ready to take the picture. Then I noticed he was alive, bleeding out on a rock. I knew I had to finish the job.
So you grabbed an extra bullet just to shoot him. He could have lived. He would still be here with us today.
Perhaps he would have killed your husband if I hadn't stepped in. He wasn't the type to let things go. And how do you get the safe combination? Who do you think has been helping him smuggle bullets in? It was extra work for extra pay. And even Owen knew about the safe. There was a brilliant plan now in ruins. Well, I sympathize with you growing up poor, but your selfish greed was not worth a man's life. But that you'll be charged with first-degree murder.
I am so tired.
Oh goody, I know how to get your energy back up.
I am not writing Zephyr. The hug again.
I can feel it already. Your heart is beating faster.
To be fair, she's probably not hugged often.
That is true.
Not again. Too tight. I'm dying.
Oh, sorry, I got carried away.
We just solved one murder. We don't need another one. Are you going to do this every time we solve a case?
Of course, it's the perfect way to celebrate. Wait a second, you said every time. You want to join in more cases?
I don't think I can do more. If this was my full-time job, I think I would quit. After hearing Lowell's story, I think this job isn't for me.
What do you mean?
Earlier today when he told us about him and his family being forced to move, I think he learned the wrong lesson from that. He wanted a better life for himself than his parents. I just wish he used that drive for good. I know he should pay for his crimes. I just can't help but feel guilty.
You have a good heart, Justy. Even seeing good in Lowell.
You're too good for this world with a heart like that. Mr. Eubank, what are you still doing here? Just wanted to see Lowell taken away. After what he put me through, it was very rewarding. As for me, my client may have been blackmailed, but he's still charged with moving the body. So he will not be saying anything else on the matter until his lawyer approves of it. Yes, ma'am. But that aside, thank you both for catching Anton's killer. He wasn't perfect, but he was my friend. I wish you could have met that side of him. But maybe in another life. I hope so. It's been a long day, so we had best be off. Until we meet again, detectives.
Looks like you two solved this case. For a pair of rookies, you two punched above your weight and won.
We couldn't have done it without you. Your investigation got us evidence we needed. But I hope you haven't forgotten our deal. Now go tell the chief about what you did on Sunday night.
Here it is. Ernest gets demoted to clerk. Justina gets promoted to detective of robberies.
Too late. He already knows. Sue told him earlier. He gave me the highest punishment on the force. A salary cut.
Oh no! No, poor
God.
Gumshoe!
That's actually worse than
Ernest.
That's worse than being fired.
Oh no! I hope it wasn't too big!
Oh, don't worry about it. Us gumshoes know a thing or two about salary cuts. Oh, that's a good one.
Wait a second, what is a gumshoe then?
Gumshoes, I think, is a term for detectives.
But I have been doing some thinking since this morning.
That's not good.
I never should have met with Anson and recorded our conversation. I was blind in my attempt to prove Anson and the Eubanks are rich elites who flaunt their wealth.
You shouldn't be too hard on yourself. When I first joined you, I thought that the Eubanks helped Luna out of grace, not guilt. I only had admiration for them. But now, I see how naive we both were.
How about you both just admit you needed to listen to each other, to the other side, more and call it even?
Never!
I like the sound of that. Besides, this isn't the time for regrets. You two solved the case. Now, we can finally move on to the exciting cases.
I need a good night's rest and a cup of coffee before even considering doing this again.
In that case, how about we celebrate tomorrow?
Works for me. 5 cases in a row takes a lot out of a guy.
5 cases in 2 weeks, and only now you're feeling tired? Then until then, I'm going home.
Not so fast.
Sue, be nice, please.
You're not going anywhere until you finish your job that you were actually hired for.
But sleep.
You can sleep here overnight if you don't want to finish it quickly.
Can I at least get a pillow and blanket if I do? Thankfully, I only need to stay 2 hours to finish what she gave me. Alright, today is just normal. No surprise cases, no more panic. They did say they wanted to celebrate. What do they have in mind?
Right on time. Oh yeah, he is there. Good morning, Justy.
It's whoever we feel like.
Hey, Miss Assistant.
What's going on? Is this the part of the celebration?
Now that you're here, we have some news to share.
You were promoted.
We spoke with the chief, and he agreed to let you have this.
Junior police officer badge sticker?
Think of it as a kind of promotion. We can't make you a real detective legally, so this is the next best thing.
Wait, why can't I be a real detective legally? Is it because I haven't gotten the schooling or for
Yeah, you need
something?
to be an actual educated cop.
It was an idea we were throwing around, but we didn't think it was realistic.
What does it take to be a detective?
Oh, you have to complete the police academy training and become a police officer first.
What? What do you mean by promotion?
While you were hired as a clerk, you spread about your helps solving one of the biggest cases in the city. The chief thinks you could keep helping to solve cases. You should be out in the field more. I would need to find a new clerk, but I suppose helping the public is better in the long term. We don't exactly know what your role will be, but we can figure that out later.
I mean, I would assume most of the time the city doesn't have that many cases.
Hopefully not.
So I could be a clerk for most of the time. Paper Perjury 2 is going to come out and be like, 2 weeks after this whole thing, another set of 5 cases.
What you say, Miss Assistant? Want to team up some more?
Hey, Red, I called dibs on her first.
Hi! We'll be right back. Give me a moment to think. What am I doing? Why did I just say no? Because being a clerk is boring. It isn't me. This whole thing.
Hey, Justy, are you okay? I know it was a surprise, but we didn't expect you to run off.
I just needed some time to think. I don't know if I should accept it.
If you ask me, you're a great help. Why don't you want to take it?
It's just, I never thought my life would take me here. I grew up with an autistic family and I thought that was my calling. I even thought I would take over for my dad someday. But even when I studied art and loved it, it never felt right. So I applied at random jobs until I got my job here. When I was standing outside this room on my first day, I thought it was just a one-time thing. Help the detective and that's it. So much happened since. Is this really me? Is this my calling in life? Something so different from what I thought my whole life? Was all that time studying art in college a waste? And what if this is all a waste? Sorry, I'm rambling.
You have nothing to be sorry for. I'm not exactly the best at giving advice, but life isn't always a straight line. Who cares if you studied art before this? Do you need everything in your life to line up perfectly?
Well, no.
Exactly. Maybe being a detective isn't for you. Maybe in 6 months, you will quit the station. Then you can keep looking until you find a path in life that's truly for you. But if you don't try, you will never know.
And what if I let you down? What if we fail to solve a case because of me? What if...
Stop saying what if. That's not a Justy I know.
Why is your hair moving?
Because I need to be very dramatic and I need to be romantic.
Where is this wind coming from?
I just imagine Ernest.
Oh wait, no, it's the typical detective trope.
Wherever I go, the wind follows.
No, I just imagine Ernest is in the corner with like one of those big fans.
I wouldn't be surprised.
When I started having doubts in myself, you believed in me. You're a great detective. There's no one I would rather have as a partner. Choice is yours. But I hope you say yes.
Why is your hair still moving? Then, we need to solve an art robbery someday. I can show off everything I learned in college. Oh, a priceless statue where the culprit leaves clues to his whereabouts. That would be perfect for us. But if we don't, I think any case we do together will be fun.
That's the Justy I know and love. Come on, let's head back to the others. So they put the sticker on your ID.
All right, let's go. Ernest, turn the fan off.
All right.
After my promotion, things remained relatively quiet at the station. Detective Hunt was busy as always. Sophie and I may have finished our case, but something major popped up. I offered to help, but he said,
Cases like this take a while to get our evidence. When I start making some headway, I'll bring you back as my assistant.
Miss Earl started looking for candidates to help cover for me while I'm out of the office, but it was harder than expected.
I have a few candidates in mind, but on second thought, I'll keep that to myself for now.
Chandra started applying for maid work everywhere she could. By but she didn't get any offers from anywhere until a friend of mine works for the Azure City News Network. They want me to interview for a journalist position. Wait, what? I've never done journalism before, but it can't hurt to try. What?
Okay.
Eubank Investments didn't get away scot-free. The orphanage sale was nullified and Appleton's mayor rescinded his deal with the Eubank Investments. They had to file for bankruptcy, yet they were able to remain as a company. How that works is beyond me. We filed for reorganization bankruptcy as a means to pay off our debts. I can give you a lesson in bankruptcy law if you'd like. Eubank... Eubank and... I can't do his voice now. I've switched too many voices. Eubank Investments may have downsized, but it will recover in time. We built this company with our very hands. We can rebuild it again. Sophie and I got to team up on more cases, but none of them have been intense as the Eubank cases, because this isn't paper perjury too, which I'm thankful for. Looking for a lost cat is much easier than solving a murder. Why is Sophie looking for a lost cat? She is a murder detective.
That's a very good question. Our next big case is going to the movies together. We just need to decide which movie.
Uh-huh. What a case. As long as it's not horror, I'm up for anything.
But Super Ghost Death Trap just came out. I heard it's amazing.
Yes. Go there, Justina. No, never! I'd rather do paperwork than go watch that! Oliver was charged with simple assault and pleaded guilty. It was supposed to be a felony assault, but Chandra asked the prosecution for a lower punishment. One paid fine and a month in jail later, he returned home to Appleton. Even after what I did, my family accepted me back with open arms. I'm going to start my cooking career, one where I can keep my freedom and stay close to my family. Yay! Kitty! Kitty! Fee and Toasty were grounded for a month for what they did. It was going to be longer, but Sophie and I were able to convince the Eubanks to shorten it. She did help exonerate her dad of murder.
Playing detective is fun. When we grow up, we will become detectives too.
Oh no. I don't know if Toasty will live that long.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Honestly, Toasty, that would make your cat like 14. That's an old cat.
Right, Toasty?
May the gods have mercy on your parents. Bill willingly stepped out as the director of the Klaus orphanage. Embezzlement, while normally a felony, was reduced to a misdemeanor given the circumstances. Because of this, he was allowed to keep his public accounting license and return to accounting.
I should count my blessings. I was able to go back to accounting at all. As long as the Klaus orphanage is in good hands, that's all I can ask for.
Annie's plea deal saved her from jail time, but she was given community service and a large fine. Ironically, she had to sell the motel to the Klaus orphanage just to make up the difference. A sale that was lower than what Anton was offering. Now the Klaus orphanage gets to keep the land itself and never has to move. My amazing magic tricks leaked to the press. Now they want a full scope of my magical crime. The world's greatest illusionist, Maggie Shawn, will rise again. That is still a terrible name.
It really is.
Like, come on. If you want a stage name, you want to make it like Max Galactica. Not Maggie Shawn. Come on. Maggie Shawn sounds like a hillbilly name. I hope there's no Maggie Shawns watching. With Bill stepping down, Meg was given the position of director. Wait, what?
Okay.
That's a promotion and a half right there.
It's only temporary. I plan to find someone else who can better run it. I love these kids, but I also have a dream of I want to follow.
As for her relationship with Fry,
We talked things out and going to rebuild our friendship.
We both made some mistakes, but we both care about each other.
As for myself, the dough hits are bigger than ever. I don't need your dad's store to show the world my art.
my dad was able to retire and now only makes glass at his own pace. His hobby of gardening has started growing a lot since his retirement. Oh joy.
It's just another thing for your mom and I to bond over. You should give it a try.
No thanks. Taking care of my own life is hard enough. A plant is too much responsibility. Ben, I sent back to prison. As expected, he was able to become the prison's barber. He also regained his accent. What?
Okay, I guess you just like the accent.
In prison, I get more customers than you can shake a stick at. But soon, I'll be out of here faster than a hot knife through butter. Didn't think I'd have to do an accent. With the sale, Luna started planning her move to college. She's growing up so fast. Aww. Oh yeah, I'll definitely come visit you, Luna. I will, even if I have to beg Sue for the time off. I guess Sue's still the boss. I better start planning my trip before plane ticket prices go up. Joy wasn't fired from Eubank Investments, but only because the Eubanks were willing to overlook her crimes. Just like Fee, it was thanks to her evidence that Anton's killer was brought to light.
At Eubank Investments, forgiveness is our #1 virtue. And no one embodies that virtue like the wonderful Eubank family.
As for myself, good morning, Miss Earl.
Morning, Justina. We finally got an applicant for that new clerk role.
Is it the thief?
Oh no, is it Hana?
Is it the thief? Please be Hana.
Since she will be filling in for you while you are out playing detective, I want you to interview her.
Are you sure? I don't have anything prepared. word.
Trust me, I think you can handle it.
Is it Hana? Please be Hana. Why are we interviewing in the interrogation room?
It is Hana.
I know why for the game. So what makes you a good fit for this job?
I have first-hand experience with the inner workings of this police station.
I knew it! Yes, Hana!
I've even seen the process of bringing in witnesses myself.
Jeez, I wonder how you got such an experience. Hire her. Hire her.
This was a joy.
You are very welcome, developers of the Paper Cat Studios, or I think it's Paper Cat.
This was a very good game.